Shalom. First and foremost, as always, giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem, Makadash. Double honors to the Apostle Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to hope the elect, the brothers that are spreading this gospel towards the four corners of the earth. We're just going to get right into it.
And before you go into that, just real quick, today, basically, the question mark came out and said that they declared the MP as a global health emergency. Now, what's interesting is I've been saying I did a video, maybe a month or two ago, going into that. How they had this simulation about a year ago, a tabletop exercise, and in the simulation they went into an exposure of this MP. They had the timeline, the guidelines with accurate dates and all of that. And they said, when you look at it, really around the winter time, going into January, and then next year, that's when they really gonna start pushing that propaganda hardcore. You know, start talking about cases, you know, a lot more cases. And this time, if they go accordingly, they're looking to have the cases up in the billions. All right, not the millions, but the billions. Billions of deaths, billions of, millions of deaths, and billions of infections. Okay, so we gonna watch and see, because it's interesting how the same question mark came out a month or two ago and said, this isn't something you got to worry about. This isn't a matter of concern yet. And now they come in and turn around saying, nah, it's a matter of concern. So they're going in the same direction. Now, they found out that people are foolish enough to believe everything they say. Because the lady Burke or whatever that was with Fauci, she came out and said that everything they basically said was a lie. You know, she openly said that they lied to the president and the American people. But people still gonna fall for it, so you can read that.
Oh, Fauci said that as well. Fauci lied as well too. He said, you know, I'm about to resign. He said he's about to leave. He said he's about to leave office. He's about to leave office, and basically, he's like, you know, hey, we're just gonna say that, you know, that the 19 is here forever. And you know, and they also were saying that the thing that cures it might not work.
Oh yeah.
It's not gonna prevent it. It's not gonna stop it. So you know, it's here to stay, and I'm leaving office soon.
And when you watching the movie Songbird, remember the trailer? He said instead of 19, it was 23. that was what was on it. And that was before 2021. That movie came out in 2021, and you know, we was looking at it like, all right, what's gonna go on? But it was talking about signing 22, 23, 2 years later, and now we're 5 months away from 2023. So if you notice, this thing is moving very, very fast. Time is like flying by. The years it was just right now that they locked things down, and now it looks like they're getting ready to do it again. So keep your eyes open, man, and watch as well as prayers. I wish I said.
Yeah, Sleepy Joe just got it.
Yeah. You need to drop that. You need to go permanently.
Should I say?
That's why we bring this up. I'm going to what you said, because I saw an article on Zero Hedge about a lady. She's going to like no longer be on the news anymore because she heard that, and she's seeing that people aren't really believing the media anymore. So people is like, how far? So she said there's so many words she tried to say in a sly way. I think she's thinking about leaving the media industry because basically business ain't booming. People ain't believing the lies no more. So since nobody's being lies, what's the point of me being here? I'm not really gonna make no money, and eventually people hate me. So it's like, let me just fall back. Like that Homer Simpson thing where like he goes into the trees and gives to me.
Yeah. Well, that's the idea. That's the idea. Destroying the government cash.
Psalm 64, verse 8. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away.
Why is that? Because you have certain Edomites that are bringing out the truth and exposing Esau's lies, exposing what he's really doing, the things that he's doing behind the scene. Or I think they call them whistleblowers, if I'm not mistaken. Right. You have these alternative media news, so that's how they're making their tongue to fall upon themselves. People are fleeing away. if I could find that article, then Lord's gonna post in the chat. But a woman said she no longer wants to be on, be on the news anymore. I think it was NBC. Basically, she don't want to do anything having to relate with media because people aren't believing the lies no more. So business ain't booming in the media. So what's the point of me being there? That's what basically she's saying. Yeah. Nah, you can stop.
Matthew 24:7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, and pestilences, and earthquakes, in diverse places.
Right. So right now you're saying, read that again?
Matthew 24:7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom.
Right. And ever since like the end of 2020, we've been seeing that. When you saw Iran, they shot missiles. They said an American base when they killed Qasem Soleimani. They still want blood. Don't think that they forgot about that. They still want blood for that man's death.
Yep.
So that was a sign of nation against nation. You're seeing all these nations having an issue, which they've always had an issue with America, but now it's, the Lord is raising those spirits up in those other nations to have problems, raising up nation against nation.
Russia, Ukraine. Oh, and even, matter of fact, even like it says in Daniel 2, with the toast. Because now you got the EU being divided over gas rations. Because, and then Revelation 17, because now what Biden is telling them is, look, put sanctions on Russia. When they started doing that, they knew that they were basically shooting themselves in the foot. Because now Germany is scrambling and the EU is scrambling, talking about, they're saying Germans are taking fewer showers. Because the energy, they're afraid of what's going to happen when Russia cuts it going into the winter. So basically Biden told them to commit suicide. Now you good.
I was going to say, that's eventually going to come here. Everything that you're seeing happening on the outside of America is going to hit here, but it's going to hit here the worst.
The thing is, Esau, he can't take the blame for everything he's did in the past 2 years.
Right.
So what he's doing is he's like, yo, look, he's the bad guy. He's the bad guy, so that they could push blame and hide while everything is crashing.
Right, that goes back to what? So I believe it was king, fugitive, and a vagabond thou shalt be in the earth. And that's what, if you look at it, the opposites between us and Esau is that the Lord is building us up to deal with persecution, where Esau is afraid and he's running away from it. So the Lord is basically building us up to deal with, false accusations and things like that. But Esau is going to run away from it, and you really did do all these things.
Continuing. And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places.
Right, you're having a lack of food. Doesn't mean that there's no food, it just means a lack of food. I believe I posted in the chat, the certain supermarkets now, they're just having like a picture of where stuff is supposed to be, but they have it hiding in the back because people are stealing it.
Wow.
Now eventually, yeah, you can hide it by like, in the back or whatever, but eventually someone's gonna come up there with a gun and be like, yo, I need that back there, and I want it. What's that, we always mention it. Yeah, I likes it and I want it. Well, that's gonna be, I needs that and I wants it. You're gonna give it to me.
That's right.
You can do it the easy way or the hard way. And that's how it's gonna be eventually. So that famine, which is a lack of food, not saying that there isn't, but lack of food is gonna what? Make people wanna people do things that they what's the word I'm looking for? People are not going to do things how society, when it's normally ran, what they would do. Desperate times call for desperate measures, so they're going to do desperate things.
Right.
Hard times, killer tactics.
Right. Yeah, because starvation is coming, and people are not ready. Right now they got food, but just like that. Look, a lot of things can happen in a day. If there was a missile that hit America, or an EMP that took out the grid, in one day, life would change. Trust and believe that.
I saw truckers are talking about the lack of diesel fuel.
Yeah.
And if they can't transport, which is the backbone of our country, if they can't transport goods, that's going to play a huge part into all the goods and food getting transferred around. So things are going to get real scarce. Nobody cares about truckers, so they're not gonna worry about if they need to get from point A to point B, but that's how your market is getting filled up. Continuing, Matthew 24:8. All of these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake.
Right, so going back to our previous verse and stuff, all these are the things are. So this is not even the worst part. But you know, if you listen to your family members, you would think like, this is hell already. But it's like, yo, really analyze it and really sit down. When you're in the spirit, it's like things haven't really gotten that bad. It's not that bad. Things is going up, things is getting expensive, but things haven't gotten that bad as how we know it can be. But for the normal, average, everyday person, like, no, it's difficult. They scratching their head. They don't know what to do. I believe that's is that Isaiah 24? It says there's a crying for wine in the streets. Eventually, people gonna be like, what the hell is going on? Why is all these prices like? And the crying for wine is basically the wine can be likened unto the understanding of the scripture.
Right. Well, we could get that. Isaiah 24. I think it's around the 4th or 5th verse. Family word.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
When I want to say connected.
Yeah, because that's the times that we're in right now. And what it is that people are starting to get hit with reality when reality hasn't hit yet. Just the winds of reality is what's blowing past people right now, and they're already losing their minds. Which shows you how very unprepared they are for when reality actually hits. You know, and then for you got people that are just clueless about this shit, getting ready to go to beaches and shit. You know, ain't nothing wrong going to the beach. It's the mindset though. You know,
Like nothing's gonna happen.
There you
or
go.
Nothing's getting worse.
Yeah.
Isaiah 24, verse 4. The earth mourns and fadeth away. The world languishes and fadeth away.
Right, and that's what's happening to the earth right now. The earth is mourning, man. People are mourning in the earth right now.
The haughty people of the earth do languish.
Right, and that's the high-minded people here in America. They're languishing. Even though they're trying to, like the brother just mentioned, they're trying to be proud and act like the prophecy is not hidden. They're trying to be proud and not listen to us. Like, you have people walking around right now, ignoring us and things like that. And let's be honest, these people know what we're about. They know the message. They've seen, beginning with our apostle elders for 30 plus years, what we're about out here. But they still walk past us. They can find out the answers. They can get answers in the Lord's word if they're Israelites, first and foremost. Be saved. But they ain't going to seek it. They ain't going to want to hear the answers. But later on, they will want to hear the answers.
That's right.
The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof.
Right, how is the earth defiled? Because Esau has broken the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Matter of fact, hold that real quick. Psalm 50.
What is it?
I know it's Psalm 50. Say, read that precept one time.
The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof.
Yeah, there's something in there, Psalm 50. That goes into how you casted my word behind you.
Oh.
Make this like Psalm 50, like double digits.
Wait, what? Yeah, but the specific verse, let me see. Does it go into thou thoughtest I was one as thyself?
15, 16. Yeah, 16.
Psalm 50 and 16. But unto the wicked God saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, and that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth?
Right. This place was based upon what? The Bible. America was based on the Bible. It's called itself a God-fearing country. They say God bless America. They swear on the Bible and these things, but they don't do nothing that the Bible says to do. So that's how the earth is defiled under the inhabitants. Because when you take this Bible in hand and you swear upon it and you say that you're going to follow it, you got to follow what's written in the book. You can't go according to your own mind. You're a hypocrite for that.
Seeing thou hatest instruction and castest my words behind thee, when thou sawest a thief, then thou consentest with him, and has been partaker with adulterers.
Right. It says, seeing thou hatest instruction, and recently just watching Elder Yashawamba's video about linking Cain and Esau together, that's the same thing that Cain did. He knew what was the right thing to do. He knew to bring the fat of the animals to the Lord. He knew it was the proper sacrifice, but instead he brought what? The fruit of the land, which is something that the Lord don't want, because the Lord requires blood. He requires that sacrifice. So he knew it was the right thing to do. But what? He hates instruction. That spirit in them that hates instruction, they don't choose to do the right way. That's why they went off. They want to do their own thing. And that's what? When when Cain was cursed, what? The Lord also cursed the earth because of him. It shall not yield unto you his strength. Yield unto him her strength. Sorry.
Yeah, because there's different kinds of sacrifices that need to be performed a certain kind of way. You know, you got burnt offerings, gift offerings, you know, all of that, which they got peace offerings, and for each different one, there's a different kind of animal that is accepted. Some you may only bring a bullock, you know, some you may only bring a lamb or a goat, but they got to be males, you know. So the Lord is specific on what kind of animal He wants you to sacrifice and how He wants to sacrifice for whatever particular sacrifice it was. So you can't bring herbs of the field for a burnt offering, because that's not what's required for a burnt offering. So clearly this guy, you know, and it shows you that he was proud, because why you ain't just, if your brother got it, why you ain't just go to him? Where'd he get his? You know, why you ain't go to him and ask for, you know, a lamb of the flock or something like that?
Yeah, isn't that with the Passover? If it's the house be too early, you can share with that. Like, yo, I need a little, you know, I need a sacrifice.
Yep.
Nah, fuck it. I'm gonna do my own thing. Well, doing your own thing don't get you messed up. That's Proverbs 3:5. Trust in the Lord with all thy heart, and lean not unto thy own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Fear the Lord and depart from evil.
Right.
But he didn't depart from evil.
But that was the Most High putting that seed in his mind, so that he could go that wayward way and end up murdering his brother.
Precept. 2 Peter verse 3, 2 Peter chapter 3 verse 4. And saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation. For this they willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of Yahweh the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water, whereby the world that then was, being overflowed with water, perished.
Which is the flood during the time of Noah.
Come. So just like on topic of what brothers are speaking of, that's pretty much what's going on right now. Just a couple of years ago, people were scared out of their minds when the lockdown happened. You know, a couple of years passed by, things seem like they're going back to normal, with a slight struggle of maybe prices rising and, you know, less gas or whatever. But the reality is we're actually going to a much darker direction. Even though like things like you know, the brother Shalom just said, things seem, you know, it's not the worst it could be. We know it can be worse. But what's going through the average person's mind is that, nah, we're good. Everything continues as it was. Y'all been saying that the world's gonna end for 1,000 years. That book is mad old, yada yada. That's what happens.
Actually, since you mentioned that, that's what a conversation I believe I had with my father about a week ago. He said that same thing. Yeah, I heard that, all this, and things like that. And I even mentioned it to precept to him.
Ezekiel 12:27.
And I even mentioned that precept to him. He was like, you know, I mentioned the precept. I was like, yo, no man knows the hour of day. He's like, yeah, I know. But it's like, because he heard about the whole thing with, I believe, with Pastor Tar and them, when they were saying, like, I think something, if I'm not mistaken, something happened where they thought the world was going to end in the year 2000, the Y2K and all that. So he's told me something about, not to get too much into it, but he told me one of his family members went back to Trinidad because they were so scared, because they thought that the world was going to end at around 2000, and they would rather be in Trinidad when that happened. But it's like, yo, the only thing I could have said to him at that point was, look, no man knows the hour of the day. Do you know about, that's why it's important to know the prophecy, because that will give you a guideline, a measuring stick of what, you know, of how this is all going to lead up to the end. It's not just going, look, the end is not just going to happen like that. You have a series of events, of things that play out before the end. The same thing like with Daniel, the 2nd chapter, with the statue. You have the head of gold, the silver, the bronze, the iron, and then the iron with the feet with iron and clay to it. That's a series of events and things happening before the stone comes and smashes the feet. So you have to wait. It's not saying that the end's not going to come, but you have to wait. It's like watching a movie. You're going to see the end of the movie, but you got to go through the 2-hour and 30-long movie to get to the end.
If I may say, Daniel was grieved because he didn't know what he was seeing. So when people see occurrences happen, they wondering, like, you know, their heart is weary because they like, damn, it seemed like the end of the world, but when is it actually going to happen? And what does this all mean?
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, you know, we all men, you know, and it's the Spirit of the Lord that had it, you know, play out that way. You know, now, you know, if that was what was taught, you know, at the school, or you know, at the time back then, you know, they act as though Apostle Star was the only one that was in the school. You know what I mean? Like, he was going by what was taught, and they basically leave all the blame or the heat, you know, for him to take, as though, you know, they weren't all there. But at the end of the day, guess what? Does that mean that the Most High is not dealing with them? No.
And they corrupted.
And then here we are. So the Lord puts the Spirit, you know, on who He wants to do what He wants. Because at the end of the day, guess what? It was the Lord's will. You know, and the Lord used that as a sifting process. You know, so I mean, at the end, it's not. I mean, if you're spiritual, that's not something that's going to be a stumbling block onto you. Now, like you were saying, somebody might try to use that as like, oh well, look at what happened over here. Look at what. That's all right. The disciples thought that Yahushua, when he came on the scene, that was going to be the end right then and there.
And they even asked him when he was resurrected, and now you're going to restore the kingdom of Israel. It's not for you to know the times and seasons that the Father has put in place.
Yeah, and then it goes to show you the faith in there as well, because what happened after they found out that it wasn't, the year 2000 wasn't the end? Did they stop preaching? No, they kept on going out there. Even with all the backlash and all that, they still kept on going out there. You know? So, but yeah, bro, got a precept. Back up what you were saying.
Also, on your point about the apostles, like the scriptures say, the deceived and the deceiver are his, but for some people that's not a permanent condition. He was being led by someone that was wrong. That doesn't make him wrong maybe in that moment, but just like Paul, he was wrong at one point. That does not mean he's like, you could just disregard the fact that the Lord was dealing with him after he made a huge mistake by stoning that one prophet. What was that prophet?
He consented for them to stone Stephen.
Exactly. So even Paul was deceived at one point. That doesn't mean he's not one of the apostles, one of the greatest men in the scriptures.
Right. At the end of the day, look, we're just doing the will of the Lord, you know, and however the Lord wants it to play out, that's how it's going to play out.
That's right.
So really, guess what? It was right in the eyes of the Lord because it went according to His will, you know.
And that teaches all of us a valuable lesson. You know, you need to reprove yourself. So if anything, you should be commending our apostles in this day for approving themselves. They could have stayed wrong. Ecclesiastes 8 verse 11. Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. And I wanted to put that in conjunction with this scripture that Brother Bakar wanted to bring out. Ezekiel, you wanted 12, right?
12 and 27.
12 verse 27. Son of man, behold, they of the house of Israel say the vision that he sees is for many days to come, and he prophesies of the times that are afar off.
Yep, and that's added to the point, Shalimar, you were saying, you know, that...
Yeah, because basically, since Judgment Day has happened, all hell hasn't break loose. Oh, so okay, I could just still do whatever I want. It's like, nah, oh, you speaking of a day that's far off, so I can still do what I want. But you don't understand that even though the day is, to you, it's far away, it's coming. Like I said, it's just like watching a movie. The end of the movie is going to come. You just got to sit there and wait, and eventually it will come. That's all. Either you going to come to it, or it's going to come to you.
And to add to your point, because you mentioned nobody knows the day nor the hour, which is true, but what we do know is the signs, you know?
And that gives you the measuring stick to, you know, to measure, to see how close you are. And that's why we actually have Matthew 24th chapter going through it.
Brother got a quick precept on that point.
This is 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then thou shalt understand, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made.
See? So you ain't gonna know the exact hour, but you're gonna know that we in that time, which is what's important. You know?
Well, actually, when you go through Matthew 24th chapter, Yahushua warned them about the desolation that would come upon them. But he didn't say, oh, this specific year. He just said,
When you see, so he gave him a sign.
and then when you see it, flee into the mountains.
Right? Don't say, oh, well, he didn't tell me the exact date. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna just chill up on this rooftop. I know, man.
And we still do that today. We still do like, yo, when you see the lights come on, you know it was time to go back home. your parents or your grandma, whoever you was living with, your elders, they was gonna smack you up. You didn't get home. So it's the same difference. That was the sign. When the lights come on, you know it's time to be in the house.
Yeah, bro.
Salakia, just bringing back the point, the deceived and the deceiver are his. I wanted to emphasize that point because you can be deceived to your destruction, or the Lord can deceive you for your salvation. And it's not always just because you were deceived that the Lord is going to destroy you. Like, for example, Isaac. He was deceived thinking that he was going to have to murder his son, but it didn't end that way.
Abraham?
That's a lot. Abraham thought he was going to murder Isaac, but he ended up not going through with that because it was a test. So sometimes you can be deceived to your own salvation for a greater lesson.
Yeah, well, in a sense, he was going to sacrifice him, and at the end of the day, he was once again obeying the will of the Most High, which shows the especially for Abraham's case, it showed it proved it, right? It showed the faith that he had. You know, if the Lord said, "Look, put your son to death," and you actually going to do it, you ain't going to tell his mother what was Abraham supposed to go do when he went back in? He left with the son, but came back empty-handed. And because remember, if you going, it's the ancient world. If you're going out into the woods, onto a mountain somewhere, and you leave this, you come back without your son. What you think the first question your wife is going to ask you? Even if you came back with your son, but he was injured, you think she gonna come to you first? She gonna be looking at him. Why is he bleeding? You know what I'm saying? Like she not even focusing on you. Let alone you coming empty-handed. You better not come home then.
But, I remember it's something in Jeremiah where Jeremiah said, "Oh Yahweh, you deceived me. You are stronger than me." I forgot how it goes, but I know it's in Jeremiah.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
I forgot how the word goes, but he basically said, "The Lord deceived him, for you are stronger than me," because he thought that everything was going to go smooth when he was prophesying unto Jerusalem. But basically, Israel didn't want to hear the words of the Most High. He thought it was going to be like everybody going to hear him, they're going to listen, repent, and it's going to be Gucci. But no, it didn't happen that way.
It's real life for you.
Joseph's brothers betrayed him, but it was all for a greater purpose. And his brothers, they all still created the nation of Israel.
Right.
Hey,
They did
the
some
Lord,
wicked shit.
Yeah, what they did was really messed up.
the Lord made Jacob supplant Esau. Remember, right? The Lord made Jacob supplant Esau, and
It's going down.
it was for the benefit of the good of the righteous people, because Jacob later on had the birthright, which symbolizes the chosen people of the Most High. That's why he changed his name to Israel, because that was going to be the name of a nation of chosen people. You know, so but it took place with a supplanting, a deception. You know what I'm saying? He had to act like he was Esau when he came to his father.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
So the Most High deals with deception. Because what did Abraham do when he went to Egypt with Sarah? Did he not deceive the Egyptians when he told them that she was my assistant?
Yeah.
Because technically she was, but
Technicalities.
yeah, he used that
It
to
was
his advantage.
deceitful.
Yeah.
He worked deceitfully.
Because he had to, but at the end of the day, that was using wisdom. You know,
And
what's
the
he gonna
Lord
say?
did.
No, that's my woman. You know what I'm saying? Don't come close to her. Here it is. The whole army done set the Pharaohs out on her, and they know that if they took her while he was alive, that's adultery. So they ain't gonna do it. So what they gonna do?
Kill him.
That's it. You know, so you gotta, and Isaac did the same thing. With
I
Abimelech.
think it was the same thing. Or was it
Nah, it's
different?
different. It's
Yeah,
different.
but he didn't realize that. No, it ain't your sister.
Yeah,
That's your wife.
yeah,
You
yeah.
lying.
Either that or there's some real weird shit going on between now.
Because you can kind of tell, when you look at a woman and a man, it's like, nah, that's
Yeah.
even if they don't show any affection or hold hands, though.
So the point being that these things are spiritually discerned. You can't just have a one-track mind on things like, oh, this person was wrong, so the Lord not dealing with them, they're evil, they're this, they're that. Nah, you got to spiritually discern the situation. And we have the scriptures to give us examples of exactly what we're talking about in real time as well.
Brother had a second of this. Oh, you have read that, right? Yes. So you read up this round.
Isaiah 24, verse 5. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof.
All right, so bringing it back, how is it defiled? When we read Psalms 50 and I believe 16, Esau hates instruction, and he casts the Most High's words behind him. He don't take in the words. He don't follow the guidebook. So since that, he throws the book behind him, takes instruction. So the earth is defiled. That's where the minds of the people is messed up. I believe that's Sirach, the 10th chapter. As the king is, so are the judges, and so are the people going to be. If the mind of the king is corrupt, the judges is going to be corrupt, and that's going to corrupt the people. So that's going to leave a defiled earth, a defiled land.
Because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore has the curse devoured the earth. And they...
Oh, sorry. I believe there's something, I forgot where it is exactly, in the Apocrypha in the book of Maccabees, after Antiochus gave his decree that everybody should follow, leave their customs, specifically Israel. There was something during the time of Judas Maccabees, early in the stories, how when Antiochus wanted to use money for to get an army or something, it said that he couldn't get the money because something about the land or the earth is defiled. Now it goes, but basically showing you that when you don't follow the law, statutes, commandments, that fucks up with the earth. I know it's in the book of Maccabees for sure.
That's real heavy set, that book, man. Or those books, actually.
Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. The new wine mourns, the vine languishes. All the merry-hearted do sigh.
So well, how's it going to be burnt? Ultimately by the destruction that's coming. And a few men left. And that's going to be the elect and the remnants, these other nations that are around.
The mirth of tabrets ceases. That's music. The noise of them that rejoice ends.
Right. Because right now people are well, before, I would say, people, I've only been in this truth for 3 years, but, as you see things happen, as you get closer and closer in, the mirth of people is going away. People are no longer joyous anymore. People are questioning things. Like an example of my father, he's seeing the things that's going on in the land. He's like, I don't want to be here. This isn't funny no more. Things aren't a joke no more. But they don't want to admit that you're right. Because if they have to admit that you're right, which is really the scriptures, which is really the Lord, now it's what? That requires change. That requires them to change now. But our people don't want to change, which really goes to the Lord not wanting them to change.
Actually, I have a coworker that I speak to about some of these things, and it's like he tries to attack the truth instead of just taking it for what it is. He sees the message, he understands what I'm saying, and then he's like, but you don't think we got 50 years? Like, no, man. It's happening today, bro. I don't think we have 50 years. But he has children and stuff that he cares more about than the Lord. And the Lord told you what happens if you love any individual more than him, you're not fit.
Yeah, that's something that we all got to guard against, because the Lord is the one who ultimately gives you children. He takes them away. So just like with Abraham, the Lord gave Abraham Isaac, and when the Lord requested for Isaac back, Abraham understood that he had to give. He couldn't pick his son over the Lord. If you pray to the Lord for something or someone, and you get it, and then because of this thing that the Lord gave you, you start going in the off way, what you think is gonna happen? It's like if your parents buy you a video game console, and because of the video game console, now your grades start dropping and sinking, and you start doing bad in school, what you think is gonna happen? They're gonna take away the console, and then they're gonna whoop your ass on top of that and give you some books. That's the new plaything. So what you got to do is, now that you got the console, you got to maintain those grades, and then they ain't gonna have a problem. If you a kid and your parents buy you a video game console and you play it, but you making sure your grades and everything are on point, you still doing your chores and all of that, they ain't gonna have a problem. When they come and they see you playing, it's not gonna be a problem, because they're gonna know that you still get whatever you got to get done. And that's the same thing. The Lord bless you with children, or a woman, or whatever the situation is, and then because of them, you start to go off from the Lord. What do you think is gonna happen to you?
As a father, I'm a father, and when my kid come home with good grades, I say, keep that up, and you'll get even more stuff. The thing about the Lord is, when we show him that we diligent and we working on things, better things be happening to us. Even if it's minute things, you can see the difference. Like, all the time this door was shut for you, you start putting in more work, praying more, studying more, doors open, I feel like that's a testimony to myself. Just recently, I was aggy with the hustle and bustle of work all the time, but right upon feeling good about the study ethic that I'm trying to build right now, a door opened for me. You know what I'm saying? And it just gave me the energy that I need to go on. Cause hey man, sometimes just your body gets weary to the point where you do something for over 20 years, you like, man, I'm ready to retire. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the age where I can retire, but it just so happens that I'm not in no type of union where they have a retirement, but now I am. So Lord willing, I keep the spirit in mind, and more doors open.
So, but now you know the key.
That's
you know
right.
the key to open those doors.
That's right.
So now you know what you got.
That's right.
What's that scripture? The Lord did it. You take it away.
Yep. That's right.
Right.
Second chapter.
That's right.
Isaiah 24, verse 8. The mirth of tabrets ceases. The noise of them that rejoice ends. The joy of the harp ceases.
Right, so that's all the partying, the music, they want to enjoy life. Well, that's all coming to end because you're coming into some hard times. Reality is going to have to sit in. Hold on real quick.
Ecclesiastes 7 and 4. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth.
Right, so what does that mean? The house, sorry, read that one more time.
The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning.
What does that mean? That means what? Mourning makes you, when you're in mourning, it makes you in a more serious mindset. It makes you take things in life a lot more serious than if you're happy all the time. Look at how we're in mourning right now because we see the way the earth is and we're praying to be delivered. So what? That puts us in a serious mindset that makes us take things serious, and we're not always so quick to joke around. Not saying that we don't joke around, not saying that we don't enjoy life, but we're more serious minded. We don't, like how us Caribbeans like to say, we're lackadaisical. We're not just whimsical about it. We're stern, we're disciplined and things like that. But if you're in the house of mirth, you're a lot more joyous, you're a lot more lax to where you're just, like the scripture says, set on your leaves. Or it's either leaves or leers.
You know, leaves.
Leaves?
Yeah, because you let your guard down. When you're, and that's why they tell you gotta watch somebody that's always a jokester. Because a lot of jokesters, you can have somebody that's just genuinely a jokester, but then there's somebody that does that for you to underestimate them. Nobody really, this guy's always joking, he's always trying to get you to laugh. There was a meme that said, funny guy, you gotta watch out for funny guys that make you laugh. Because you laugh and you laugh and you laugh, and next thing you know, your clothes are off. And it was from the perspective of a chick, right? Going to show you that you're able to slip past her defenses through that laughter and that mirth, and that's why you gotta be cautious of that. You gotta be you gotta be wary of that.
Nah, and he'll be the type to be like, I ain't touch nothing.
But yeah. So going out into that point, you can't always just be giggling, laughing all the time. You gotta be serious, at times.
There's a balance, but it's just like you're gonna be more serious minded than anything. Because you need that little breathing moment to just enjoy yourself for a moment, but then you gotta go back to being serious because the times are serious. Right? You're not gonna be laughing during Jacob's trouble. I mean, I know the scripture can say that, but you're gonna be a little bit more like,
right. The theme of Jacob's trouble is gonna be very serious.
So like, Lord, please, I seen you hit that nigga in the car.
It was kind of funny though. Yeah, because you're gonna see a lot of these dudes that was talking all this shit, and the Lord, look, man, even humor comes from the Lord. There's times when something, the actual situation is not funny, but for some reason you just laugh because the Spirit of the Lord is just on you. Some wicked dude might just be going and I don't know, something just drop on and smashes his toes. And that shit is painful, but the Lord might just put the spirit of laughter upon you.
Actually, since you mentioned that, like when I used to watch
Some Tom and Jerry shit.
Damn. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what I was about to say. Because I'm like, it's not funny because like they be taking the hammer and smashing the toes. It's not funny, but for some reason it is funny. And like since you said it, I can't understand how is that funny. Because violence is like, damn, he just smashed his toe in.
Right.
And he's screaming, how tough. But it's funny though.
Tom never talks, and then one time, because you know they'll show like this dumbass go sneak his hands under somewhere he can't see, maybe like under some shit, and all he sees is his hands moving, and then Jerry gonna put like a rat trap over there and some shit. So he think he got Jerry, so he's confident, and he just grabs that shit,
Pop.
and then his whole face turns red because he's not trying to scream, but the shit hurts so
Yeah,
bad.
he's like, and his whole head turned around. He's like,
Well, that's gonna be these guys, you know.
I don't understand. It's not funny, but it is.
Oh, shit. Yeah, they got another thing. And that shit hurts, you know, when you in pain and you need help. Like that commercial, I suffered pain, I needed law. You ain't gonna get no law. So you in pain and you need help and people laughing at you. That shit is not funny, man, but it's funny. And that's the spirit of the Lord. So they're gonna be mocked. You know, they're gonna be mocked.
They shall not drink wine. Oh, Salak. This is Isaiah 24, verse 9. They shall not drink wine with the song.
Right, so they're not going to enjoy it. Partying and all that is no longer going to be enjoyable. If they try to party, like I think it was last year around Christmas time, I could tell that the spirit of Christmas was dead. Like I could tell like they were trying to force the Christmas spirit. It wasn't really there. They weren't really into it. They were just doing it just because of their traditions. They were just trying to force it. But really, it's like that partying spirit, that Christmas spirit, all that holiday spirit is dead because of the inflation is making things, making food and prices cost more. You think people gonna really want that turkey? People gonna be cutting down, like, yo, nah, I ain't with the Thanksgiving this week, man.
Right.
Not this year. Oh, Christmas, Jimmy, you want a PlayStation 5? Even though you can't find them, but you want that PlayStation 5? I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it.
Right. Good times, it's like, oh man, it don't feel the same anymore, man. It's not like, I remember when we used to party, we used to enjoy. What changed? What happened? Well, prophecy happened.
And alcohol is a depressant. So if you drink in that times, you're really gonna be depressed.
Because they're going to try to do it to escape their sorrows and take their mind off of things. But what's going to end up happening is the trouble is going to be so much that the alcohol won't be able to take their mind off of it. Instead, it's going to emphasize the problems that they're going through and make it worse for them anyway.
You have to deal with reality. Prophecy is reality. The same thing that people were running away from, didn't want to hear, because that's too much, it's too violent. You're going to have to deal with it. All of us are going to have to deal with it. So it's like,
The city of confusion is broken down. Every house is shut up, that no man may come in.
that's it. No.
What was the last holiday of July 4th?
Yeah.
Yo, you should have seen how quick the fireworks was over with. Like,
Yeah.
it's like the mirth is over. Like, if you doing that at these stages of life, you know it's something different on how quick it's over. Like you were saying, Christmas was dull. 4th of July was dull too. And what's the name of that one? Thanksgiving. All the mothers out there getting them turkeys. If they not getting no free turkey, it ain't gonna be no Thanksgiving dinner. Cause last year the turkeys was expensive. Like damn near $60. Eve out there, my demon out there trying to shop around for a turkey. If they ain't getting no free turkey, it wouldn't have been no turkey. Cause food shortage has been out ever since last year. It's just that it's in a high blown phase now to how you think 2023 gonna be. You know what I'm saying? Shelves is empty already. So just imagine 2023. And we closely approaching it. We halfway through, you know what I'm saying? We passed the halfway through mark. We only got 5 months left before the new year begins.
They say things are going to get even worse. Whatever's a problem in the summer is always worse in the winter.
There you go.
You know? And they say food prices coming to the fall are going to be going up even more.
That's right.
Because of this economic slowdown, jobs are slowing hiring, and they're starting to fire and lay people off, and their prices of things are going up. You know?
Also, what was that? There was this lady, you should know it before. This lady who was like talking about numerology, the number 7.
Oh, is she an old Edomite looking
Yeah.
woman? Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. 2023 adds up to 7. So for the elites and like their plans, they might want that to be a big year.
Yeah, yeah.
Might be it.
Yeah, and they got that certain thing going on too.
Yeah, I think they implementing the lockdown again.
Yeah,
They trying to do that. The lockdown coming back, and when people thought that the lockdown was over, more people going to concerts and stuff. You know that's going to escalate contagions. I mean, people getting infected. You know what I'm saying? The more you around and everything is open, and y'all in large air gatherings, what you think? That's going to be the excuse to be like, yeah, you're infected, you're infected, you're infected, you're infected, even if you're not.
Yep, yep. And you gotta think in your mind, right? The question mark there was this meeting that was going to grant them this ability to be able to declare emergency wherever, basically give them all these powers. You didn't really hear much about it since, because at the same time they had the WEF and all that stuff going on in Davos.
Yeah.
And then now, some months later, going on hitting that 6, because they said after like 6 months from then that power will really kick in and be enacted.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Washington, New York, they had these bills that they were trying to pass to basically open up concentration camps or isolation camps, and at the behest of the health director, they could just come, and if they deem you a threat, they could come to your house, take you out your house, and forcefully take you over there. I remember in Washington, I think it was January 20th or one of those days, they were going to discuss make it like putting that into reality, right? Then that's it. Now you got to think about it. Why would they go and put all this work to have these legislations, and then that's it? Do away with the lockdowns, do away with everything. There's no point. It doesn't make sense. Why would you have legislation to open up these camps and throw people in there, and then there's no need anymore? The pestilence is gone, everything go back to normal. No, it doesn't make sense.
It's that money, all that money, just for nothing.
Right.
That's what the whole census was about too, to monitor who's doing what and who's to count the people, the citizens, but also to know who's doing what. And to make a long story short, they know all the people who hasn't been Vanessa. You know what I'm saying? Because if you check your phone, they keep urging you to like, yo, the time is now. Go to the nearest. They know who's not Vanessa. So that's a part of the census when they knock on your door and they talking about, oh, we just I'm down with the census and we're just counting everybody in the apartment buildings and this housing development or whatever. Nah, they putting it in they books and tallying up who's doing this, who got that. It's a database, and that's what this democracy is about, man. Knowing, and ultimately that's what the beast is about. Like, they want to have the rule like how Yahweh has, to know everything about everybody. But you know, I don't know.
According to them, if you didn't take the booster, then you never got it.
Yeah.
So nobody got it.
Oh,
According
you
to
got
them,
you got to be with that.
some people, I mean, if they survive,
Yeah.
whoever survived from it, but they're gonna knock on your door. If you're not up to date, you don't have it.
Right.
So whether you never had it or you had some, you ain't have it according to them.
Yep.
Also, now it's a sudden death syndrome. So who knows what that is?
Right.
People that took that stuff, they dying suddenly, but it's just a new syndrome. Like, it just exists in our world now that young people, healthy, can just drop dead. Just by,
young.
yeah. You go to a concert, it's hot, people are all crowded around, it's hard to breathe, you drop dead. Like, how is that even, it's sudden death syndrome, apparently.
Bro, when I was in the hospital like 2 months ago over my foot, every medicine that they came in there to give me, every blood test that they came and took from me, they scanned the shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like every syringe, every intravenous, you know, the bag, the IV bag, scan it. Then son, every medicine, so they know what you got and what you don't got.
Database.
It's in the database. Like every pill that they gave me, they like, oh, this is a painkiller. I'm like, what the fuck is the scan for?
Right.
They got variables.
That's it.
They got variables without names.
Bro,
They're pretty much treating you like a product. They just
Yeah.
scanning you and asking,
every time.
Is this product up to date?
That's right.
Start back at 8.
Matthew 24:8. All of these are the beginning of sorrows.
Like we explained, this is just the beginning. It hasn't even gotten worse bad yet.
Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake.
Right. They're gonna, some of us might be taken to concentration camps or whatever black sites to be beheaded for the word and testimony of Yahweh Bashim Shah. And we're gonna oh, and you shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, because eventually people gonna be like, you never know, people might come out and be like, you're the reason why this is all happening, because Esau gonna use his media to persecute us and label us the threat, or label us terrorists, or whatever have you. So people, everybody's gonna hate you. Probably family members, friends, things like that. People that you stop talking to within years gonna be like, yeah, you evil, man. It's like, I haven't seen you in years.
I believe in the scriptures that says, they that hated you hated me. And so, when Yahweh Shah was on the scene, people hated him. So, if people hate us today because we're teaching the word, then that must mean we're doing something right.
Right. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another, and many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many.
Right, that's happening right now, and many people read that first part.
And then shall many be offended.
Offended at what? The word. That's what's going to make people turn upon each other. Some people are going to be offended at the word, but it's going to get too hard, too difficult, and some people are going to just turn away from Yahweh Shah. But we got to pray that we're rooted and grounded in Yahweh Shah to stay stable and strong, to stand upon that rock.
And shall betray one another, and shall hate one another.
If I may speak on that point right there, just to, if I could speak as a man, you know what's going to prevent you from turning on a brother? What's going to prevent you from looking at having an evil eye towards your brother in them days? Now, obviously, it's going to be the spirit of the Lord, but it's more importantly the time and the bond that you share with brothers. Actually building a brotherly bond with each other, because it's more than just it's like this is business and you handle the Lord's business, if I may say. That you come out here and you teach the word, you teach the people the word, but it's also what you do off camera as well, how you interact with each other off the camera. Like we have our study lessons and things like that. Sometimes we play warfare. We build a bond with each other, and having bonds like that and building those bonds with each other. And we have certain holy days, and sometimes we hang out as well. That builds a bond, and that's what's gonna be like, yo. Like I said, it's also the spirit of the Lord, but it's also like, nah, I went through too much stuff with this brother for me to turn on him like that. I can't do something like that. But if you just make it all about the word and just, not saying that you will do that if it's all about the word, but when you build a stronger bond with brother, and when you really build, like, if you ever watch some of those movies that deal with fraternities, when two individuals or a group of brothers go through things and things like that, and come out on the other side better, they go through hardships, they hate each other, but then they love each other, they hate each other, they love each other. That shows that there's a true love there, a true bond there, that when hard times come, they never break apart.
Quick precept, Ecclesiasticus 12:8. A friend cannot be known in prosperity, and an enemy cannot be hidden in adversity. In prosperity of a man, enemies will be grieved, but in adversity, even a friend will depart. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Yeah, so basically, when you're doing good, it says a friend cannot be known in prosperity. So when you're doing good, you can't really gauge who's with you for the right reasons. And an enemy cannot be hidden in adversity. When things are really bad, that's when you start to know who's really with you and who's down for you, because they're going to support you throughout the way and bring you up and support. But when things are going good, you don't know who's really solid. Like, I got money or something, or like, on a carnal tip, like you got money, people around you now, they want to be around you because you're cool and you got status and stuff.
22.
And it says, in prosperity of a man, enemies will be grieved, but in adversity, even as a friend will depart. So this is saying basically, enemies, they're gonna basically not
Read that
what's
again.
what's the word? Sorry. And
They ain't
prosperity
gonna
of a
be
man,
around.
Enemies will be grieved.
Prosperity of a man, and it will be great. Yeah, because you know, as they say, they don't want to see you winning, right?
Haters.
Yeah, exactly. What's the next part?
But in adversity, even a friend will depart.
Yep.
So when things are going bad, even your boys, you know, the people that was down for you when you was doing good, they're gonna leave too. So never trust thine enemy. For like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. So basically,
It's bound to happen.
Yeah, it's bound to happen. Never trust them because no matter what, their true colors are gonna show it eventually.
That's why you got, and that's why it's ultimately the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua that's upon us to be able to do the things that we do. You know, because for look, when you people will even go as far as to leave their woman or their parents or their child because of how scared they may be. When some shit pops off, they go into survival mode. They go after their natural instincts, and they forget that they even got a child with them or they even got somebody with them. All they know is they heard gunshots, and the next thing they knew, they were 10 blocks down the street. And then they remembered, oh shit, where's my son at? He may not be as fast as you. So he might have got left over there. Now you go, oh shit, my son, have you seen my, So people go into that fight or flight response, and if it's flight, so it's the spirit of the Lord that's going to have it to where you might start off running, but then you, boom, whoa, brother down there, where this brother at? Then so it's the spirit of the Lord that's going to give you the courage to be able to go back and realize that, you know what, I mean, even if I didn't have that type of a bond with this brother, that's still a servant of Yahweh Shai. And how like how the Lord asked Cain, where's your brother? How are you gonna answer the Lord if he asks you, where's your brother? See, it's one thing if I went back for a brother and we both died, hey, we show up in the spirit world together. Well, I'm here because I came back for the brother and that's how I ended up here. Cool.
Right.
That's a different story. The Lord might say, I have mercy on you, send your ass back down. But if you end up over there and your brother's in the spirit world, and then the Lord asks you what happened to your brother, how you gonna answer the Lord? I ran? Well, this says, my disciples are going to be known by the love that they have for one another. So if you ran and left your brother to die, then you're not my disciple. Got the precept you want. Yep, this is Ecclesiasticus, or the book of Sirach, chapter 22, verse 20. Was it 23? All right. 22 and 22 I have here. But let me start at 22, come down to 23, see this. So it says, if thou hast opened thy mouth against thy friend, that's the one, how it starts? Which one is it?
No, I think it's
22 verse 23?
No, it's
23 verse 22.
no, I think it's you in chapter 22, right?
Yeah.
My bad.
No, you good. It might be 23. Be faithful to thy neighbor in his poverty.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
All right. So it's like it. I was gonna be. Ecclesiasticus 22 verse 23. Be faithful to thy neighbor in his poverty.
Right, when he's at a low point, when he's down. And who does that start off with? Yahweh Shai, because he was at a low point. Remember, he said, you are not my servants, but I call you my friends.
Right. So it says, be faithful to thy neighbor in his poverty, that thou mayest rejoice in his prosperity.
Right, so when he's up, you're going to be winning as well.
Right.
So when Yahweh Shai was at his low point, we stay faithful to him. What? When he comes back up, when he's at his high point, Lord's willing, we're going to be at the high point as well, which is joint heirs with him. So it's the same thing with your brother. Be good with you. Matter of fact, that goes like we mentioned earlier with the story with Joseph and his brothers. What they pretty much cast him down, sold him into Egypt. But what? Joseph had better integrity. And when Joseph was up, he was like, I still love you and I still care about y'all. I ain't gonna do that to y'all. And really, the Lord used me to save y'all from the famine that's happening in the land, to save a posterity, to save our people. Right. But
right,
that's basically shows the character of Joseph.
Right. So you had to have evil to have good. So that evil event didn't take place, then it would have been bad for all of them. Because how would they have gotten that privilege of getting the grain from Egypt and all of that? Matter of fact, how would Egypt even have survived that famine? So really, the Lord saved that whole region through Joseph. Continuing on, it says,
it's the concept of like trying to be down when someone is prospering, and kicking someone when they're down if they're lowly. When Yahushua comes back, he's gonna come back in his perfection. Everybody is gonna be trying to, get that ticket to be with him. But in that day, he's only gonna remember those that was down. He's not, and then what he's gonna say, depart from me, I never knew you, to all the other people that wasn't down. So that's a tough lesson.
Because he knows who are his.
All that say,
These are going to be what get it out.
all that say Lord in that day aren't going to be saved.
Going on, Ecclesiastes 22, verse 23, continuing. It says, abide steadfast unto him in the time of his trouble, that thou mayest be heir with him in his heritage.
I was shocked.
That's right.
Like I gave the example, the perfect example. When he was down, what he said, forgot, I believe it's in Matthew, it says, when you were good unto me when you fed me, you clothed me.
I was
It was
naked
like,
and you clothed me.
right, it's like, Lord, when did we ever do that to you? It's like, the same you've done unto my sins, you've done unto me.
Right. Yep. Because at the end of the day, you are helping Yahweh Bashem Yahushai by helping your brother. Because your brother works for Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So if you help your brother, that brother's then able to do the work to then serve the Lord. But if you see your brother in the state and he needs help, and that's messing him up from being on point like he normally is, and you don't do anything about it even though you can, then you're thinking individualistically. You're not thinking of the body. If the brain sees that there's something wrong with the kneecap or the toe or the hand, the brain is gonna start thinking, okay, well, that's you, right? You get injured, you get cut, what do you start thinking? You ain't gonna say, oh, that's the hand, I don't give a damn. You're gonna start thinking, all right, maybe I should get some, treat it, get some alcohol, rub it, get some ointment, put some, put a covering on it, tie it up. So your brain is gonna say, you know what? Let me take care of this arm, because if this arm is down, the whole body is affected. So if you help a brother, you help the whole body. And whose body is it? It's the body of Yahweh Shai. So technically, what you've done for your brother, you've done for the Lord. You've done for really all of us.
Also, don't be that person that tries to take advantage of brothers that are helping you, because the Lord also says, Slakia, brothers can help me remember, if you're like, we're talking about the body, right? But if your right arm isn't helping you, the Lord says cut it off. If it causes you to sin, if it causes you to go off,
right? Right eye offend thee, pluck it out.
And you could see that in the same sense of the body. If like I said, don't take advantage of brothers that are willing to help you, because they're gonna cut you off from their flesh.
Yeah, Lord, ultimately the Lord's gonna spew you up. So it says, Ecclesiastes 22, continuing, abide steadfast unto him in the time of his trouble, that thou mayest be heir with him in his heritage. For a mean estate is not always to be contemned, nor the rich that is foolish to be had in admiration. There we go. So just because somebody is rich doesn't mean that they're supposed to be had in admiration. Just because somebody's in a bad condition doesn't mean that you should contempt them. You should look down upon them or mistreat them. What's up with these Edomites, man? They don't walk mad weird shit. That shit everywhere you go. Women don't walk like women, man. And then you think of what? Job 30th chapter. They learn to step up right. They stop whatever.
It's in the food, man. They're putting the hormones in them. I think they're giving hormone blockers to men, and they're giving women more testosterone.
That's even worse. Well, 2 Ezra 15 tells you that. They want to be like Esau so bad. There you go.
My aunt actually said she got, her DNA tested, and she had way more testosterone than she was supposed to have. She can't have children. I don't know if it's. I do think how masculine women want to be changes their biology to a small degree, but I also think they're putting stuff in the food. But it's only to your own detriment if you're not in line with what the Lord created you to be.
Well, that's why these women are so aggressive. It's abnormal. It actually is. The aggressiveness of you see a band. If you see a band of Judite women coming at you, that's damn near equivalent to a band of dudes coming at you. No, because you see them, they come, their thighs all clenched together. They mad big and shit. They shaking the ground. and then wait till you hear them speak, and that voice is deep as hell. You know, you thinking, yo, what's good, my dude? Oh shit, that's not my dude. You know, I'm serious, man. There's a lot of videos like that, and they have mannerisms like men. You know, yeah, let's get here. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is going? What's wrong with this? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's no, it's a complete turn off, but it's true. You know, it's true, man. I'm telling you, man. You better watch out. Don't beat your ass worse than a dude. So you got some of these. I'm telling you, man. Some of these women, you gotta watch out for them, man. Especially the Judite woman. She. Hey,
The brother's not lying because the thing is we see it in the physical anecdotal, but the actual statistics is I think 80% of women in the black community right now weigh more than a man at their height. So whatever BMI, it don't matter, all across the board. 80% of them are overweight. Over a man's build.
that's not good. That's not feminine. You know, it's like some Hulk type shit. You know, and that's not how the Lord designed a woman to be. You know, so there's definitely something going on, man. Something abnormal is going on. Now, not all women are like that. You know, don't get in your feelings. Not all women are like that. But right now we highlighting those that are like that. They got you got some that got the gorilla build. They top heavy, and you know they may not have cuts. They may not be cut up, but they're like almost the equivalent. They don't have curves on here, straight down. You know, like a fat dude, but it's actually a woman. You know, and they come in there now. A lot of them decide to be strippers. You know, and they just, man, that shit is crazy. I saw a video that the elder Manasseh Zakpa put up, and it was of like different strippers. Basically, they're like WWE wrestlers that come in and line up and introduce themselves. You know, this one comes in, she got pink hair, braided up, and one of them is missing right here, but the rest is all tied up in the back, and she's talking about, Keisha B in the building, respect me. You know, they do that little look down, look up shit. You know, I'm the bitch up in this piece, respect me, nigga. You know, and they all lined up, and the camera's going one by one by one by one, and every one of them is coming in there trying to make herself known. There's no shamefacedness. There's like, I need to, you gonna feel my presence, either verbally or physically.
I saw that.
You saw it, right?
Yeah.
And that shit is a disturbance to your peace. You know, because now if she's here, you want to cross the street. Because you don't even want to make eye contact with her. Because if you do, she gonna, what's up, nigga? You know? It's real, man. It's real. You got some of them that are real big and tall, too. Like, what's his, Magic Johnson's, his offspring. I'm not gonna call him a son or daughter. I'm just calling him the offspring. That's a creature you're gonna need to.
That song, oh, here she come. Watch out, boy, she'll chew you up. She's a man eater.
That's it. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Just be careful out there, man. You gotta watch out. You trigger the wrong one, and they coming at you, man, like fucking MAGA and shit. But anyway, let's get back.
Matthew 24:10 continuing. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another, and many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many.
Right. Both grab his words, man. Trying to tell people that this isn't the right thing. That all that one video Elder Yashwamba did, I believe a man named Marcus Roberts, saying that this Hebrew Israelite belief is basically the doctrine of the devil. It's like,
Was he Jake?
Yeah.
There's always Jake with these Edomite names that come out talking all this scoffing shit.
Yeah, I think his name is Marcus Roberts.
Roberts. I think it was Mr. Roberts.
Two first names.
Yeah, 2 first names. Marcus Roberts. You want to come talk about we're wrong.
Yeah, but when you analyze it, like, yo, what's so wrong about what we're doing? We're telling our people to repent. We're telling our people to eat clean. We're telling our people, yo, stop killing each other. Stop doing what you're doing. Stop having an evil eye towards your brother. Like, when you really analyze it and you're in this faith, what is so evil about this?
Right.
What is so evil? Stop sinning. Stop killing your own brother. Stop, just sleeping with women. Stop committing adultery. Stop eating whatever you want. Have a better health. Have a better mind. Know how to engage these heathen. Know how to talk them so you can get out of bad situations, or you know how to deal with situations with them.
Right.
How is this bad? How is this a doctrine of the devil? They can't explain it. It's just you guys are just evil. You guys speak about hate. We speak about retribution, righteous judgment.
You got something? No, you can go.
No, no.
Second
It speaks about retribution, us being getting recompense.
Right.
What's so wrong about that? Our people want justice. They want rights. Well, the Lord has rights. He's gonna give it to us. I can't for the life of me find out what is so evil about this. We're literally making our nation go from being pieces of shit niggas, like I believe Apostle Tahar did like a 3-minute video of something, I think there were gremlins or something, where it was like a bunch of Jake around like a building like that, fighting and breaking up the... We basically trying to stop our people from being like that. But this is the doctrine of devil. But y'all in Christianity can't give an answer, can't tell. People ain't gonna even listen to y'all. Hey, stop being like that. But this is the doctrine of devil. What we're doing is evil.
They call good evil. Evil good.
Right. This truth exposes them. That's what they don't like. They got they're over there in Israel already, and they feel like they're the real people. So if we bring out the truth, we expose them, and in turn they're gonna have to retaliate. Second Ezra, the 15th chapter. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity. Second Ezra 15. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy.
Which is what? This Bible, this book. What did the Lord tell Ezekiel? Eat this roll and teach the sons of Israel.
Which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord.
Right, so the Lord's going to give you, put wisdom in your mouth of how to speak his word. He's going to teach you his word so you can speak it. I believe he told that. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, I think
Kerosene.
Yeah, the Lord basically told Jeremiah, put my words in thy mouth.
I'll make my words in thy mouth fire, and these people would. So really, what we're doing is we fire breathers through the Spirit. You know, because that's the word, and that's why it says it likens the word of the Lord onto a what? A sharp sword. So they either get cut or they get burned, and then that's why when you got people that come up, and you notice only people that are really truly sincere can stay the whole time for long and ask good sincere questions. And then you got some that'll come up and before long they'll start arguing or they'll just leave because they get burned. You know, that's the power in the scriptures are in the spirit. Okay, when you look at how it affects people within, not without worrying about without, what's within, and then that eventually manifests outwardly. For somebody to come and stand here for a minute and then you say something and they say, no, that can't be it. That's because there's something going on internally that's so much for them that they had to, you know, the demons got roused up and now they started manifesting outwardly. So the word of the Lord is very powerful, like fire. And these people are the perfect, I don't even know how to even put that, but they're the perfect, like,
You said that word.
exactly, wood. They're the perfect,
Stubble.
yeah, they're the perfect
Kindle.
thing for us to use the fire on.
That's right.
Put it like that. And then soon, Lord willing, we're gonna be actually in the real fire. So fireball jutsus and all that. Lord talked about spiritual, and it says in the book of Revelation, the 11th chapter, you know, that if any man will hurt them, the fire proceedeth out of their mouth and devoureth them, and if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. So maybe a brother might breathe fire down on the sick, who knows?
Yeah, Christian can't answer that question.
Right. He gonna tell you the fire is talking about it ain't talking about that. So what is it talking about? What it ain't that? What kind of answer is that? You guys go, what is it talking about? It's not what you're saying. Okay, so what is it? Well, it ain't what you're saying.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
Put the book down. No, I want to know what you.
We had somebody actually come up and say that. They asked the question and we said, all right, brother Gambino, no, he came up here, no. What do you think? Now, forget the book, bro. I want to know what you think. And then we got him another precept that says, basically, it's not about us, you know. Forget what we think. We got to go according to the word of the Lord.
The proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding.
Hebrews 4:12. For the word of God is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword.
Right, now what do you use with a sword? You use to injure somebody, kill him. But it said the word of the Most High is quick and powerful, sharper than any two-edged sword. Now this sword ain't slicing up bodies, as it's going to explain. Continue.
Piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and
So
spirit.
it's attacking the inside. That's why they get all like,
That's stuff.
nah, you guys is off. You evil. You're spitting madness. You guys are devils. You guys want everybody to die. All you guys ever speak about is devil. It's like that's what the scriptures speak about. When you read the book of Ezekiel, it talks about lamentations, mournings, and woe.
Right.
Now it does have a balance. It does speak about, you know, the joy, the gospel, the good news. But that gospel's only for one people. You already know who that is. It's not for everybody. So this word hits them on the inside. That's why, if I'm not mistaken, with Stephen, I remember bringing this out, but it's been a while since I went back into it. With Stephen, when it said, when you
Cut to the heart.
cut to the heart, when you go into that word, I think it said something along the lines of how they hated him or whatever. But when you read it, when Peter was speaking in Acts the 2nd chapter, it says they were pricked and basically meant that they wanted to repent. They felt sad and sorrowful. But that one in Acts 7 meant like, yo, they was angry at him.
Yeah. So there were two different reactions when the sword hit him. Paul talks about that. Godly sorrow worketh repentance. This is Acts chapter 7, verse 56. This is at the ending of what Stephen was saying unto the people, and said, behold, I see the heavens open. Actually, Salaki, let me, verse 53 says, who have received the law by the disposition of angels, and have not kept it. When they heard these things, they were cut to the heart, and they gnashed on him with their teeth.
Yeah, that's good, right? Can you go and tell me?
Yeah.
I know the one in Acts the 2nd chapter when it said prick, basically they were sorrowful.
The word cut, we have diaprio. It says to saw asunder or in two, to divide by a saw, to be sawn through mentally, i.e. to be rent with vexation.
There we go. So they were angry at him.
That's right.
Is that a good word about you?
Let me see.
But yeah, when Stephen said vexed them, it was like, oh, this fucking nigga. Hell no.
And this is one of those cuts that really truly comes by when you know that what the person is saying is true. When that's how you really get cut. If they're telling you a lie or if they're just making some shit up, that's one thing. But when they say something about you that's true and you know it's true, but you don't like it, that's that, yeah, this nigga gotta go.
Yeah, because I believe you go continue with the Stephen said, it's like, fuck, when he said that and they heard that, it was like, oh, no, you're not about to say that. Live.
Yeah. Now the root word just goes into to talk, to saw, or to cut into two. So that's why you gotta go into those words, man. You know? But so what does that tell you about the word of the Lord? That means that the word of the Lord is gonna cause some people to be cut and some people to not. Some people like to have the reaction of when Peter spoke, I think in Acts the 2nd chapter, and versus when Stephen spoke in Acts the 7th chapter. They spoke pretty much through the same spirit, which is the Lord, but they had different reactions.
Headache.
Hebrews 4:12 continuing. Piercing even the dividing asunder of soul and spirit, and the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intent of the heart.
Right, so it gets to the point where, like, what are your true intentions with the word? Who are you truly? It gets to your mental. And when you bring out the word, it really shows you who some of our people are. They're really sinners and they're wicked. And then when you bring it out, it's like the light is exposed on them. So now it's like, oh, no, you're not about to expose me. So they want to go back into the darkness and hide. But when you're sincere, when you're like, when Peter was rebuking those Jews in Acts the 2nd chapter, you feel sorrowful and you repent. And when the light shines upon you, like, I admit my faults, I admit I'm a sinner, and I'm willing to repent. Like, for example, he didn't repent or anything, but he admitted that he was of unclean lips. Was Isaiah.
Right.
When he said he saw the king, I see the Most High, and the angel took a live comb, put on his tongue, and said, I put my words in thy mouth. You are, I believe he said he's purged from his sins. Because he admitted, like, yo, I'm an unclean lips, I'm of an uncircumcised people, of an evil people that commit iniquity to the Lord. So he admitted his faults.
Yep.
He didn't want to stay in the shadow and be like, nah.
He was humble. He had integrity.
Accountability.
All right.
There we go.
Also, back to what you were saying about, especially Esau being so upset with this word being preached. It goes into the same concept. They're cut to the heart. That's what I'm saying. They're cut to the heart by this word to the point that they want to persecute us. So they're finding ways to do that. Starting with, I guess, Frank James.
Because it's the truth. We're not bringing up anything. You really did touch us. You put us in slavery. You kill us all the time. You oppress us. You put foods in our neighbor. This is what you do. You can literally go to our neighbors and see bullshit foods. Why we don't have those stuff like Whole Foods? You know Whole Foods is bullshit. Let's be honest.
That should happen.
Yeah, but why we don't have no Whole Foods in our neighborhoods? Then you got Aharon did like that 15-minute video. He put up freaking what's his name? Mayor Adams. Is that his name?
Drinking water.
Yeah, he was like,
Oh yeah.
Drink that tap.
my tap water. I never leave New York without drinking. It's like what?
that's
Nobody's
weird.
drinking those nasty tap water.
Weird shit. Why are you promoting it like that? Always drink your tap water. What?
They know it's filled up with fucking fluoride and chemicals
Everything.
and chlorine
Yeah.
and XYZ. The whole list.
Lithium.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sudden death syndrome.
And exactly. That's what it's causing. It's causing those cancers and what's keeping that pharmaceutical money going on.
Yep. Exactly.
Aren't they
Disease.
supposedly putting venom
Yeah, I heard about that too. Yeah.
That's it.
into our tap water?
Yep. That's why the Lord said, "What you shall
Drink
what's that?
poison.
Drink poison and live. Drink poison."
See, you got
But these people want to smile in your face and be like, we're here for you, man. We love you guys, but yet we're feeding you poison. We're destroying you, not only spiritually, mentally, physically, but we love you though.
Right. You can't trust a dude like the dude got no hair. No hair. And all that's left is for his eyebrows to be gone. His mustache ain't there, his beard ain't there, his head is gone. You know what I mean? It's like, bro, that's like some Jeff Bezos type shit, which is weird as hell, man. You look at Klaus Schwab, Jeff Bezos, this guy Eric Adams. That is so disturbing, man. A man is meant to have facial hair. Why is it that when you're a baby you don't have facial hair, and then when you're a boy you don't have facial hair, but then when you start growing, the hair just starts growing on its own, because that's how your body's naturally designed to be. So why is it that if the Most High designed you to naturally grow a beard, why are you shaving it off? You know? And on top of that, they took the whole thing off. That's hey,
Repeat that, right?
he's like a walking thumb.
No, you can't, as you said that you look so.
Oh, there you got cut. You got cut.
You got cut to the heart.
Except I ain't stepping. You couldn't dash for me. But out here, this is.
Oh, so Slag, I wanted to add to that. Also, I watched a video recently that the Elder Malcolm had posted about this same concept, but except it wasn't us, the Israelites. It was I think Ham, Canaan. They were talking about, our ancestors are the Egyptians, not y'all. They getting mad at Esau too. They're like, why? Like she's bringing up all this history about how the Hamites, the Canaanites, they make up those kings and whatnot from those times.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, why are y'all here?
Right.
They did research on all of I guess they were testing like their DNA or their bones or whatever was left in those what do you call those things? It's not like a sarcophagus.
Yeah, it's like a little tomb.
Where they keep their remains and stuff.
Yeah,
And what are their graves called?
Tombs.
Tomb. That's
Yeah,
what they call them, tombs.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically they went and they took those mummies,
Uh-huh.
so to speak, and they tested them, and it all came back to be they were able to prove that they would have been melanated. They would have been extremely dark people.
Right.
They would have been Hamites or Canaanites or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like it's all of them, and it wasn't like one was an Edom. No, all of them. every last one of these mummified, you know, remains, where they went back to Ham and Canaan.
Right. Because
So-
they embalmed the body to preserve it.
To this day, they like have some like, I guess whatever, like the, yeah, of their skin and everything.
Yeah, because they use like salt and different spices to embalm the body, so that way you like if you go to the museum, you'll see like in the glass you'll see like a shriveled up like
Yeah.
body of an Egyptian, because they embalm the body to preserve it. And
Huh.
they put it in the sarcophagus.
Shows you what you got.
And they had technology back then to use like tools and stuff to remove the organs and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just about to say, that shows you that civilization was sophisticated back then. They knew what they was doing.
Yep.
And here it is in this time with Esau, civilization is going down. Because you're making it seem like your way is the perfect way, that you got the way, and it's not.
It's uncivilized.
And the wicked rule the people more, and the righteous rule the people rejoice.
Matter of fact, since you said that, as I'm on my way here, I'm getting on the bus to get here, you know, because this whole train system is messed up. This fucking Edomite with pink hair is like where you're standing right here, and it's like uncivilized. It's like trying to skate past everybody to get into a crowded train. I'm like, where you going? Like you gonna go on the bus to fucking what? To get crowded upon people? To just be stuck in the train and act like a freaking animal. Just next thing you know, somebody turns around and they see you trying to and just knock you out. Like, yo, what are you doing? People just act like idiots. They don't know what the hell they're doing. Like, okay, now we talk about Edomites, and there's two Edomites across the street just stand us down.
Right.
To finish that point about the video that the Elder Malcolm put out, she's even they are having their own fights against Esau, these other nations, and she was saying how she had to have debate with a bunch of Edomites that are like, they see the facts and they're like, skin color doesn't matter, race doesn't matter, we should just focus on now and just be happy together and all this bullshit. Like, what does this even mean? She's bringing out historical facts, and this is Esau's argument. That's the same Jesus argument they do. We say, nah, his name is not Jesus, it's Yahushua, and he was in a fucking slug. He wasn't an Edomite. Point blank period. It's in the scriptures. It's not even like, this isn't we're not freestyling, right? We're not Christians. We don't get on a stage and start freestyling off the top of the dome.
Right.
We don't take one word out of a scripture and just start making stuff up, right? You get a car, you get a car. We're not doing that
We
stuff.
all get cars.
Everybody get a car. Prosperity doctrine.
Yep.
And they having these same fights against Esau, man. His rulership is being brought down, and he's being exposed.
Right. That's why they come after us so hard, because we actually tell the truth as it is. But there's a hedge that the Lord got around us to where they can't get us like how these insiders, when these insiders come out and expose them, they're able to turn their lights off. And that shows you that the Spirit of the Lord is working, because they're not able to get that access to us. They'll try to demonize us and throw agents to try and do things that they can use to try and get at us. But what did Gamaliel say in the book of Acts? He said that if this work be of men, it shall come to naught. But if it be of the Most High, basically you're going to find yourself, you cannot overthrow it. At least happily you find yourself to fight against the Most High. And that's what Esau is doing. Anybody that comes against this truth, they're going to find themselves fighting against the Most High. And you're not going to win that, because he's a man of war. He is the man of war. The concept of war came from the Most High. So how are you going to win a war against the creator of war? Exactly.
Lord said he would give us a mouth of wisdom, was it?
Yep,
that they can't gainsay.
Yep, no resist.
And that's what's happening.
Yep.
As you just said, it can't be overthrown if it's of the Lord. And this can't be overthrown. Anybody that tries to go against it finds themselves agreeing with it or just dropping the ball completely.
That's why vocab is so hurt. He done came from every avenue. Every avenue. He's like a broken-hearted high school chick that can't get over you. And she keeps changing her numbers and calling you back. You know, trying to act like she's somebody else.
Isaiah 54:17. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is of me.
Right. So that's why they can't say anything against us because we're speaking the words of Yahweh Bashim Ashar. I believe there's a precept, it might be in Job where it speaks about how who will take him to counsel or something like that. Like, who's going to take the Most High to judgment?
I'm gonna look up now.
So if these words that, not if, but these words that we're speaking is of the Lord, how can you condemn the Lord? Who can condemn the Lord? Who can take the Lord to court? I believe in the book of Job it speaks about that. So if these words, not if, slack if I keep saying that, but these words that we're speaking is not of us. Like Yahweh shall always mention, the words and the works that I say is not of myself, but the Father that dwelleth in me. He doeth the works. So these words are of the Heavenly Father through His Son, Yahweh Bashim Al-Shah. So these words that we're saying is of the Lord. So nobody can condemn these words. You can't condemn the Lord. And I believe also in the book of book of the Lord. In the book of Job, it speaks about it speaks about in the book of Job. Damn, I just forgot it now. Damn it. No, you're good, you're good. Hopefully it comes back. No, it wasn't that. Who shall be more just than his maker? Or who should be more righteous than his maker? You can't. You're going to sit there and say what the Most High can and can't do, what is righteous? No. What's righteous is righteous in the eyes of the Lord, in the eyes of the maker, not you. You're the creation.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you know, it's like everybody has their own belief and their own path that they go on. But when we come out and teach from the scriptures what we believe, everybody has a problem with it. You know, a lot of these other beliefs, they have more, they push more towards hatred than the things that we teach out the scriptures. And in some of them, they're parallel. Because, look, there's some beliefs that are very exclusive. You know, and we don't, look, when we tell you that, when we say this isn't for everybody, people say, oh no, you guys are hate, you guys are exclusive. No, but it literally isn't for everybody. Why? Because we can tell you, I mean, the videos are out. Anybody can click on there and watch. We're not restricting the videos. But not everybody that watches it is going to be able to receive it and understand it. So when we say it's not for everybody, it means not everybody's going to understand it. So we're not the ones who made it exclusive. The Most High set it up to where some people are going to watch, understand, and repent and take heed. And some are going to watch and say, nah, this ain't for me, or nah, I don't agree with this. But that's okay. How is it that you don't agree with what we say? That makes us a hate group. But you don't agree with what another group, or another religion says, and that's okay. They're not a hate group. How so?
And everybody's entitled to their own opinion. You can have your opinion, but it doesn't mean that your opinion is correct. And that's Romans 3:3. What if some did not believe? Shall it make their unfaith? I mean, their unbelief of the Most High. Shall it make
unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect?
Yeah,
That's right. When you say the scriptures say, prepare slaughter for thy children, a lot of people disagree with that. But that's the Lord saying that, you know what I'm saying? And He's giving a judgment, and people try to make a different interpretation of it, but it ultimately means that, you know, you're going to pay for the iniquities of your forefathers.
Which is really you coming back.
That's it.
And at the end of the day, that's why it's so important that we speak with these scriptures. Because everything we say, we go into the book and get it, and then that's why we got precepts. Right? We say something, we go into the scriptures to show you where it's at, where what we're saying is, and then we explain it, and then we get another precept. So if you're going to get mad at us, you're going to need to get mad at the book. You know, because everything we say is coming out of the book.
That's
so
right.
if you're going to get mad at us, if you're going to hate us, you're going to need to hate the book. Because if you pick up your book and go to the same verses that we call out, you're going to see the same thing.
I believe that's what most of us did when we first came to truth and we was watching the video. I know. I saw a priest, I was like,
Yep. Let me see if that's it.
Yep.
well, I heard Revelation 13:9 tells me.
Yep. That's exactly what pulled
I was
me
like
in.
this.
When you
When
go
he
into
says
it
that.
and be like, yo, it say that. And it's in red, so Yahweh Shah said it. But hey, man, judgment being brought on these people right now. They think it's just a freak of nature with those forests, that wildfire and Cali and all that. That's the Lord's judgment, man. And you know that place, that area that's burning down is a lot of celebrity mansions and shit like that where, you know, the uppity people, yeah, or the higher class, they live over there in those places, in those remote places that's being burnt down right now. And that's the Lord, but people they don't want to hear that.
Right.
They thinking it's other than what it is. They'll find any other explanation. Oh, well, this is the wildlife and it's predominantly struck by forest fires. every year. No, the Lord is striking them with forest fires, man. Burning down they places of refuge.
Because they don't want to accept the truth. But
That's right.
when all hell breaks loose on the level, you're gonna realize the Most High is gonna let it be known. He's gonna leave his signature to let it be known that He's behind it. Because it's gonna be what? Unexplainable. The scriptures say there shall be no man left to comfort them. You know, so nobody's gonna be able to come and like you could turn on the news and they'd be able to give you an explanation for what's going on. Oh, it's climate change. Oh, it's this. Oh, this happened. Oh, it's this. But we at the point now where the Lord is going to have certain things happen in a certain way, exactly according to, as we've been saying it through the scriptures, that you're not going to be able to deny. Because when you see it happen, look, when the MOTB comes out, everybody's going to look at one place because we push it. You know, starting with the elders and apostles of Great Millstone on down, we push it. So when it comes out, they're gonna see it and they're gonna say, oh shoot, this is real. And then they're gonna remember where they kept on hearing it, And then something is going, even if they don't like it, something is gonna have to connect. You know, damn, these people were right. The things that they said, that's what's happening. Famines, pestilence, they said this was gonna happen. And now they're gonna start thinking, okay, hold on a second. This happened. Does that mean that World War III is coming? And then they're going to start hearing the things escalating on an even higher level. Look, right now you got Russia, Iran, and Turkey getting closer and closer. Russia and Iran are getting more and more solidified. And at some point, Turkey is going to go all the way under Russia. They're going to leave NATO and go all the way under Russia. That's going to happen. Why? Because it's written in the book of Ezekiel, the 38th chapter. And you can't stop that because that's prophecy. And Russia will come against Israel, and Russia will come against the U.S., and will come against NATO. That war will happen. And when it happens, that's when people are going to realize, oh my goodness, these men were truly right. But that point is going to be the very end. Now, good luck finding the man of the Lord, and even better luck or blessings to be accepted of the Lord in that time. If you're not of the elect, you're not going to be accepted. The doors are going to be closed, and we ain't going to be able to open it like Noah's Ark. The Lord shut Noah's Ark, so anybody that came after, even if Noah wanted to, he couldn't open that ark for them.
That's right.
Because the Lord is the one who said, I'm going to judge you. So we always say, you know what? Time is going to be the judge of things. That's it, right? If we tell you something and you say you don't believe it, all right, so let time judge. We tell you this is what's going to happen. No, I don't believe that. That's okay. That's okay. You don't have to believe it, but you will see it. That's how you do it. You have more than that? What you had? You had 2 Ezra 15, right?
I wanted to speak about like people think free will, like this Christian doctrine of free will is a thing. So they think that they can disagree with the Most High. Like I've seen people say that they disagree or they don't like that the Most High killed the firstborns of the Egyptians. They think that's okay for them to even say out of their mouth. But the Lord doesn't even like that type of talking. You don't agree with the Lord's decision. You actually think you have the right to do that because you've been convinced you have this free will, when really that's a sin of witchcraft. That's rebellion against the Most High.
Do what thou wilt.
Come on.
Which there ain't no such thing as free will. Because you got people that contradict themselves, right? People say, oh, I believe in fate, but I believe in free will. Do you understand what fate is? if you're fated to do something and you have free will means that I'm free to follow my will. I don't need to follow anybody else's will. How then can you be fated?
You have the power. No, I was gonna say the power.
Yeah, you got the power. So if fate says, you see that car coming, you're gonna jump right in front of it and you're gonna get hit. And you say, nah, I ain't doing that. Okay, you don't do that, right? The car passes, you ain't doing it. I have free will, I do what I want to do. See, you don't really have free will, but when people think of not having free will, they think of like actual strings on you and you're like a puppet. Where you don't have, you don't like you control. You want to do, I want to go here, but I don't got the free will. The Most High says I got to go here. So I'm like, but in the spirit, it's forcing me to go here. That's not how it works. The Most High does it on a very subtle, low-key level. Meaning that, yeah, you're gonna get hungry. Yeah, you're gonna think, yeah, you know what, today I want to eat pizza. Today I want to eat some Moabite food, or I want to eat this, or I want to go here and watch the movies. Okay, but in the overall picture, what you're gonna end up doing is what the Most High wills. So there's different levels of the Most High imposing His will upon you. He can give you the freedom to do whatever you want to do that is in His will. And then when it comes to a more detailed level, like the case with Judas, when he had to betray the Lord, it said the spirit of Satan entered into him. Peter had to deny the Lord 3 times. At that point, Peter had absolutely no freedom whatsoever to do anything because the spirit of the Lord possessed him. And that's why he denied the Lord 3 times. And after that, when the cock crew, that's when he came back to himself. And that's why he went and wept and repented. Because he never thought that he would do it when the Lord told him he would do it. So the Lord, there ain't no such thing as free will. You do what the Most High ultimately wants you to do. But guess what? When you say, man, I don't believe what the Most High is saying, that thought came into your head because the Most High wanted that thought to be in your head. That's the high level of the will of the Most High that you don't see. You think your thoughts are your own. Well, what's an idea? What's a thought? You ever ask yourself, where do your thoughts come from? When you say, man, ask somebody. Just do this experiment. When you go home, just randomly ask somebody when they say something. If they say, yo, I'm hungry, you know, what do you want to eat? I don't know, man. We got like, I don't know, some chicken. I'm in the mood for some chicken. Ask them why. I don't know. I just want chicken. That's what they're gonna likely tell you. I feel like I want chicken. I don't really have an explanation. I just know that this is what I want. You know? Now, why do you want chicken? What is making you want chicken at that point? Why don't you tell them, nah, how about I give you some asparagus? Nah, I don't want no asparagus. I want chicken. Why do you want chicken? Because that's what I want. That's where it stops. They can't give you a valid explanation as to, or this chemical reaction is going on in my brain at this moment at 50 megabytes per second. You know what I mean? They can't give you that. They'll just tell you this is what I feel. You know? Yo, I woke up, man. I don't know, man. I feel like I want to do this today. Why do you feel like you want to do that today? Because the scriptures tell you the Most High declares unto man what is his thought. So your thoughts that are formed in your mind come from an outside source. That's the level of free will that you don't have. The will to decide your own thoughts. You don't decide your own thoughts. Go ahead.
Just on the concept of free will, I've seen I guess this guy was a scientist. I've seen him explain it pretty accurately, which he said, we don't have free will, we just have a consciousness that's aware of what's going on in a life that was pretty much predestined for us. And that's
Right.
That's pretty much what the scriptures practically tells us. We do have some degree of quote unquote free will, like for me to raise my hand like this, you know, but that's as far as it goes. When it comes to actual decisions, like if you played the Walking Dead game, or you know those games where you have to make certain decisions and it just leads you onto the path based on that decision you made at that moment. You can't change the path once you make that decision, except in reality, we don't even have the option to make the choice. It's made for us through the Lord.
Yeah, because the Most High's decisions on a high level, you know. So it ain't, well, the Most High said you gotta take a right, you gotta take a left, you gotta take a right, you gotta take a left. No, the Most High's like, look, you gonna go out there and teach today. You gonna do it. That's the point. When it says you don't have free will, look at Jonah. Most High says you gonna prophesy to Nineveh. However that takes shape, it's gonna happen. Meaning that it doesn't matter how bad Jonah didn't want to prophesy. He had the freedom to not want to do it, but he didn't have the freedom to not do it. I'm gonna say that again. Jonah had the freedom to not want to do it, but he didn't have the freedom to not do it. So there's some Edomites that maybe they don't want to be wicked, but they don't got the freedom to not be wicked. You know what I mean? So the Most High said, look, you're going to prophesy to them. If you erase the whole book of Jonah, and all you keep is the Most High says he's going to prophesy to Nineveh, and then what he ends up doing, you're going to see that's the same thing. But when you go into the book, you can see, oh, okay, the Most High said that, but then Jonah booked it to the ports and tried to get a ship to Spain. Then the Most High had it to where there was a storm, they threw him in, the fish got him, and he ended up in Nineveh prophesying. And he was mad. But guess what? That was an example that Jonah ain't have free will. You know, he did what the Most High wanted him to do. doesn't matter how much you don't like, you're gonna do it.
That's the
I was gonna say just one quick point, just to show you how you don't have free will, and it's all in the scriptures. Beautiful points everybody brought out, but it's with Pharaoh. When Moses is speaking unto Pharaoh, and what? The Lord said, I'm gonna harden his heart. What? Pharaoh, he basically made it to where Pharaoh did the will of the Lord. It's like, look, he's gonna let you go, but not by a mighty hand after I'm done with all these plagues. Because what did Pharaoh do? What? He repented, was like, all right, I'm gonna let y'all go, just ask the Lord to take off the plagues. Then what he went back on his word and kept Israel there, and what, it kept going on and on, because what, the Lord hardened his heart. And when you read it, it says the Lord hardened his heart, his mind.
Yep.
He didn't have a choice.
Yep. Because every time he wanted to let him go, the Most High would say, no, you ain't gonna let him go. That's why he'll say, all right, fine, this time you go. And then, no, but this time you gotta leave your children and you leave your wives and shit, leave the cattle. So every time he would want to, guess what? The spirits will work on his mind like Saul. And like in the book of Daniel, the 10th chapter, it tells you how angels work on your minds. Yahushua and the archangel Michael were working on the mind of one of the, I believe, the Persian kings. And it tells you that. And it said what? He had a hard mind. He pretty much had a hard mind. That's why it took them so long. But guess what? They still got the job done. But now, real quick, I know you going to say something.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say that the Lord lay out his instructions on our sleep.
Job 33, 15, or 30. I think one of those. 30 or 30, 15. Yep. That's a good point. He sealed up the instructions of men to withdraw them from their purpose. So you go thinking you're going to do something, the Most High, no. That ain't what you're going to do. This is what you're going to do.
Did you see Attack on Titans?
Yeah.
The end of the last season?
Mm-hmm.
So like that same concept, the main character, his name is Aaron, and he has the power to basically keep everything in line with what he wants reality to be. So remember when he was actually manipulating his own like physical father to stay on the path to create the future that he wanted. In that same sense, that's kind of how the Lord works with angels. There's this one point where he's like, his father does not want to do this thing where he has to kill these people to receive some kind of power. But his son is literally in that time from the future telling his father what to do in that moment. And that's the same concept of like I said, we don't have free will. We just have consciousness that we're aware of what's happening. We don't have control over what actually happens.
Yeah, it's like being in the movie and knowing that you're in the movie. But you can't stop the role you're playing.
Exactly. And I wanted to bring out Revelation 13, and verse 7. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And that's speaking about pretty much Esau. And there's nothing anyone could do about it. We're living in a time where you can physically see that this is the reality we live in. And this was spoken of a very long time ago. So that should make you double back and be like, wait, we're living in a time that somebody already spoke of 1,000 years ago. All right, that should put some fear in your heart too.
Yep. Oh, well, think about it, right? They're gonna come out with this MOTV, right, that they're gonna put inside people. Why are they gonna do that? Why are they gonna come out with an MOTV? Why? It was written about in the scriptures in Revelation 13, but that was over, like what, 2,000 years ago? Yeah, around like 95, when John was exiled to the island of Patmos. So why is it that of all things, and they are aware of that scripture, and they are aware of the breakdown of that scripture, and they are aware that we are telling them that they're going to come out and make something like that, and guess what? They still go, and we're telling them that they're going to come out and they're going to try to force everybody to do it, and guess what? They're going to come out and do exactly that. That should be an example to you that they going to do what the Most High set them up to do. Because the people here today that are going to set up and enforce this, these are people that were born in this time, right? So why is it that of everything, why don't they just say, you know what, scrap the deal, I'm not even going bring it out in a form of a tag, we're going to just put freaking electric collars on everybody's neck. Why don't they turn around and scrap it? Why is it that regardless of what happens, they're going to come out and bring that? Because it's what? Ain't no free will. It's prophecy, which is the will of the Most High. That's why it says his word doesn't come back void. but you can get that.
So-
Oh, you were Salaki.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
go ahead.
mention, Revelation 17 mentioned that. For the Most High put it in their hearts to fulfill His law.
I also wanted to add to, I wanted to bring out 8 as well. Revelations 13 and 8. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him whose names are not written in the book of life. That means you don't have a choice whether you're going to worship the beast or not. If your name is not written in the book, that's it for you. That means the decision was made already. Also, to go back to that point you just made, when it comes to Salakia, I forgot my point.
What were you mentioning before?
Now I just spoke about in Revelations 13 and 8 how basically you can't make the decision for yourself.
Mm-hmm. And then you said when it comes to what?
I forgot my follow-up point. I had a follow-up point.
Yeah. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 46, verse 10. It says here, declaring the end from the beginning.
So the Most High already set up how all this is going to end from the beginning. He already had the plan. He already know what's all going down. He already decided who's going to win, who's going to lose, who's going to live, who's going to die, who's going to get salvation, who's not. It was all declared from he declared the end. And that's something, how do you do that? Because I meditated upon how do you declare the end from the beginning? I don't know. But he does it. You got to really think like this man declared the end from the beginning. He decided it all before he even started.
Well, that's prophecy.
I got it.
Is that the end from the beginning? You remember?
Go ahead, bring it.
Con. So, back on the point that Bakor was making about the MOTB, how basically they know who they are. They know they're the devil the Bible speaks of. They know that what they're actually creating is the MOTB, yet they still do it. I've seen a video of, I think it was Emlakite man, and he was saying to a certain group of people, like, yo, when we were creating this thing, right, the
Carl Sanders?
CHIP, I don't remember his name,
Oh, okay.
but he was saying after creating it, realizing what their plans was to what to do with it, which was to put it under the hand, he realized that in Revelations he was fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
And he said that he couldn't sleep for like 3 days. He was just crying and trying to repent. There's no repentance for these people.
Yep.
But he had the awareness to understand that they actually were following prophecy, yet they still do it. This is the actual devil.
You understand? Yeah. Back to Isaiah 46 and 10. Declaring the end from the beginning and the things that are not yet done. Saying, my counsel shall stand and I will do all my pleasure.
The Lord's counsel is going to stand what the Lord wants. An example of that is, I believe in, was either First Kings or Second Kings when the Lord wanted Ahab to be killed at Ramoth Gilead. And what? The Lord had a council with the angels down on the left-hand side, which are the demons, evil angels. And what? He was like, who's going to persuade Ahab to die at Ramoth Gilead? And one said on this hand, and one said on that hand, and then one was bold, said, I will persuade him. I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. That's the Lord's counsel. You don't think Ahab wanted to go and get victory? But no, the Lord's counsel is what stood. He will do his pleasure.
And guess what? Even after Micaiah told him the truth, he still wanted it. He got mad and he still wanted it anyway. But yeah, you can bring that out in Romans 9, because Paul also goes into that towards the latter part.
Romans chapter 9. I say the truth in Hamashiach, I lie not. My conscience also bearing me witness in the Holy Ghost, that I have great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Hamashiach for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh.
Now your kinsmen, according to your flesh, are your basically your today they'll say your race, right? Your people, your family, your blood, your seed. So who are they?
Kinsmen according to the flesh,
Go on.
who are Israelites,
Who are Israelites. So if your kinsmen, according to the flesh, are Israelites, what does that make you? An Israelite. Because if you weren't an Israelite, then your kinsmen wouldn't be Israelites. Go on. So Paul was an Israelite.
For kinsmen, just going to the definition, says of the same kin, akin to, related by blood.
Bloodline. Okay, bloodline. So all the other Israelites, their line goes back up to who? Jacob. So does the Apostle Paul, through the son of Jacob, Benjamin. So Paul was an Israelite of the tribe of Benjamin.
So, second definition, it says, in a wider sense, of the same nation.
The same nation, there you go. Yep, and a nation doesn't mean, here, America's not a nation, all right? To be American is not necessarily a nation in the true definition, because America consists of different nations. You have Moabites, Edomites, Israelites, Elamites, and all these people, these are different nations, okay? Because it goes back to your seed, your bloodline. In America, we're not all of the same bloodline here in America.
So, like, a quick point, how can we be American if this land didn't exist on it? Well, I mean, this land existed, but to be an American, that term didn't exist.
Right,
on it.
right,
So
exactly.
how can we be American?
And then you got African American, you know, what is this other? I don't think African American, but you got other terms too, you know.
Irish
Asian
American.
What is it?
Irish American.
Irish American. So what's the difference? Why they putting this before the American? To differentiate, right? But I thought we were all American. So why you gotta tell me I'm African American and you Asian American and you all these different things?
For Israelites,
Mhm.
to who pertaineth, to whom,
Pertaineth meaning belonging to, concerning, right?
to whom pertaineth the adoption,
The adoption. So what was the adoption? The adoption was when Yahushua came back, died, he shed his blood on the cross to reconcile us back to the Father. So we were basically, being the sons of God, we were disowned, for lack of a better word. And when the Lord came back and went on the cross and died for us, his blood basically was shed for us to be able to get adopted back to the Father. So so Paul is saying, really the reason why Yahushua died was only for the Israelites. Go on.
and the glory,
Uh-huh.
and the covenants,
And the covenants that were made, the first covenant, the second covenant, all the different covenants, which a covenant is really just an agreement, a deal, that the Lord made with us was with who? The Israelites. Including the second covenant, which is going to make us perfect. Go on.
and the giving of the law,
And the giving of the law. So who were given the law? The Israelites. Go on.
in the service of God,
In the service of God. Go on.
and the promises,
Mm-hmm.
whose are the fathers,
Mm-hmm.
and of whom,
Who? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Go ahead.
as concerning the flesh, Hamashiach came.
Right. So we are the ones, well, the reason why the Lord came. You gonna say something?
No.
Oh. So the reason the Messiah came on the scene was for who? The Israelites. Not for the whole world, not for everybody, but for the Israelites.
Isaiah 53 speaks about that. Isaiah 53 goes into Yahushua, the Messiah. Basically, he was suffering for it. His suffering, he was suffering for it. If you have anything to say,
No, but ultimately, look, the reason why the Lord came back on the scene was for the nation of Israel, to be able to reconcile them back to the Father. All right, to by His blood to open up the path and make things whole again. Okay, and that's why ultimately our way to victory is through Yahushua.
so this is Isaiah 53. I'm going to start at 5, right?
Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so basically, I think this morning or yesterday, Russia agreed with, I think, Turkey and Ukraine to open up and allow I think their grain ports in Ukraine to be open again so that grain can keep on flowing. Then they said that either today or yesterday. Oh. Then they said that either today or yesterday that Russia shot a missile on the Odessa port,
Yep.
which is a grain port.
Yep.
So then they say Ukraine was surprised because Russia doesn't agree with y'all, and then the next day they're gonna come and shoot a missile on your grain ports. And then when I heard it, I was like, the source in which that information was coming from was Western influenced media. So now, and then they said in reaction, Turkey said they were surprised that Russia did that. And just now it says Russia just told Turkey they had nothing to do with that. So now something is clearly going on here.
I seen the explosion at the port. It was clearly a missile.
Yep. So
I
something
seen
is
this.
going. So now, just because a missile was shot doesn't mean that Russia's behind it. But they're able to frame it now to make it look like Russia's behind it. But you got to think about these things, right? The Russians are not. The Russians are not slow of mind. Okay. When you speak to Russian people, they're not slow of mind. Why would Russia agree with you on one day to do this if Russians would just tell you straight up, nah, we ain't gonna make no agreement. We still at war.
That's right.
They're a stronger country than them. They don't have to make these deals.
Exactly.
Why would they be like, yo, we're gonna give? They're giving it to you.
Right, and then blow your shit up.
The Western influence news, they trying to make it seem like they had an agreement. But in actuality, Russia probably really did do
Nah,
it.
but no, I think Russia probably did have an agreement, but I think Russia wasn't. It could be that they weren't behind the actual missile attack. That it could have been the Ukrainians themselves who did that, and then try to blame Russia for it.
Oh,
Because then that makes them look bad, right?
yeah.
Wait. So you guys are really the cause of the famine going on, because you just shot a missile on the port. Because they saw Turkey getting close to Russia, they said no, we can't have that. So I mean, now we're gonna see how it flows. But Turkey's already had some bad moments with NATO and the U.S. and the West. So now, eventually, the Lord's gonna have these situations go on to where they're gonna start realizing and saying, yo, no, there's something going up with these guys, man. You know, the Lord is setting it up, man. And according to prophecy, Russia, Turkey, Iran, Libya, all these countries, they're gonna come together. China,
Right.
okay? And when the war starts and the lines are drawn and the sides are separated, Turkey is going to be on the side of Russia, Iran is going to be on the side of Russia. That is according to Bible prophecy. Turkey and Iran are going to be on the side of Russia. Russia is going to be a guard onto them. That's going to happen. That's a big political move that we're going to see. So guess what? That's prophecy. We just told you prophecy. Now watch out for it, because it's going to happen.
Yeah, just wanted to add on to your point in back in Romans 9. All right, start up Isaiah 53 and 4.
Isaiah 53, verse 5. But he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed.
Right, that's talking about he was wounded for Israel. Now I'm going to read this in the GNT. Same thing, Isaiah 53 and 5. But because of our sins, he was wounded. Ooh, Israel's sin. Because like I just mentioned earlier with Isaiah, remember he said, I'm of an unclean lips and of an uncircumcised people, roughly paraphrasing, meaning that his people were sinners. That's why he was ashamed to see the Lord. So when Isaiah is saying this, he says, because of our sins, he was wounded.
So like, you know, Paul just said that to whom pertaineth the giving of the laws, right? Meaning the Israelites. And sinning is breaking the laws. So when it says our sins, it would have to refer to those who
Our
were
transgression.
Who could break it?
Exactly. And what's a transgression? The breaking of the law. And how can you break something that wasn't given to you? So that means that the only people that could transgress would have to be the ones that were given the laws to transgress.
This is the word that's
Yeah, you can't agree.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no,
Exactly.
GNT, that's
Exactly.
clear.
Yeah, it's good.
spiritual word. That's sword.
Sure, yep. Spiritual word, yep.
That's why, like a parent, if you see another kid do something, you're like, shit, you're not my kid. It's you I'm talking to that did it. You know better. Why'd you do that?
Right. And you give specific kinds of rules to your children. So now the rules you give to your children, they exist, but they don't necessarily apply to everybody else.
Only you have I know.
Yeah, yep. And therefore I'll punish you for your iniquities. Cut.
Continuing. All we, like sheep, have gone astray. We have turned everyone to his own way, and the Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all.
Right. Now I'm going to read down GNT verse 6. All of us like sheep that were lost, each of us going his own way, but the Lord made the punishment fall on him, the punishment all of us deserve. Not all the whole world, of us, Israel, that we deserve. And it's going to go into the GNT. Continue.
He was oppressed, and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before her shearers is dumb.
Right. When it goes into it, basically means that Yahweh Shai, like when you read about in the Gospels, he wasn't like, I believe it also says with Peter, he did vow not, he didn't basically talk back to him, he didn't sit there and say anything evil amongst him, he just said, look, I told you the truth, basically.
Yep.
And you hated me. It's like, what do you want me to do? What he said to punch Pilate, thou sayest,
Right.
when he asked him, are you king of the Jews?
Right.
But all he says is like, you should see the Son of Man coming back in great power and great glory. That's all I can tell you. What else do you want me to say?
Right.
I can only tell you what my Father put in my mouth.
Right. And then even Pontius Pilate's wife told him that she suffered many things in a dream because of Yahushua. So that made him even more afraid. Now, and the scriptures don't say the details, but obviously she's his wife, so it's likely that she told him the details of what happened. You know? So Pontius Pilate was shook. That's why he came on there. You gotta wonder, why would a media might be so concerned about the well-being of Yahushua? Y'all sure? I mean, the man ain't done nothing wrong.
That's why he was very like, I wash my hands of
Yeah.
innocent and just person.
But
See
guess
ye
what?
to it.
Water ain't take that shit off. Water ain't take water did not take the blood off your hands. Lord gonna come back and pay you a visit too. Wherever you at.
Keep it to me.
So he opens not his mouth. That's the end of it.
Matter of fact, go to temple.
This is Isaiah 53 verse 10. Yet it pleased the Lord to bruise him. He has put him to grief. When you shall make his soul an offering for sin, he shall see his seed. He shall prolong his days. And the pleasure of the Lord shall prosper in his hand.
Right. Now reading that in the GNT, it says, the Lord says, it was my will, like we were going into,
Right.
that he should suffer. His death was a sacrifice to bring forgiveness. And so will he see his descendants, which what tribe is Yahushua from? The tribe of Judah. And so he will see his descendants. He will live a long life, obviously knowing that the kingdom to come is an eternal kingdom, those new bodies. And through him, my purpose, not his purpose, my purpose, the Heavenly Father's, will succeed. So what? His sacrifice was what? For his descendants, his people, not everybody. You can't put yourself in something that you don't belong. Even in the world, people don't like, yo, why are you trying to be a part of this? Get out of here. So why are you trying to do the same thing with the Lord? Yeah, exactly. That's it.
That's it. Beautiful point. Let's go back to Romans 9.
Romans 9 and 5, continuing. Whose are the fathers, and of whom, as concerning the flesh, Hamashiach came.
Right. So the Israelites are the reason why the Lord came. And that's why in Acts 5 and 30, 29 on down, it tells you that the Lord raised up Yahushua, whom they slew and hung on a tree, meaning the cross, and him have the Most High exalted to be a prince and a savior, for to give repentance to Israel and forgiveness of sins. So that's to who? Israel.
Who is over all, God bless forever. Amen.
So let it be. Go on.
Not as though the word of God hath taken none effect, for they are not all Israel, which are of Israel.
Right. So you got the Israel of God, and then you got the rest of the Israelites. So you got the chosen of the chosen, and then you got the regular. So you can be a two-time chosen or a one-time chosen. You can either be of the chosen nation, or you can be of the chosen nation.
Neither because they are the seed of Abraham. Are they all children?
Right. Neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children. Because Ishmael was of the seed of Abraham, but that did not make him a child of the promise. Go ahead.
But in Isaac shall thy seed be called.
There you go. So that's why I put Isaac in there, because he said, read that part again.
Neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children.
Right. So not just because you are of the seed of Abraham, you are one of Abraham's sons, are you children, meaning children of the promise. Because of course they were still his children, but they weren't the children of the promise. That was going to go through one line. Go ahead.
But in Isaac shall thy seed be called.
Right. So through the line, right, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is where the seed is going to be called. That's where the chosen line is going to come from. Not from Abraham, Ishmael, and his 12 sons. No, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
That is they which are the children of the flesh.
That is they which are the children of the flesh. Come on. Slot, you was going to say something, Garro?
Yeah. I just wanted to point out that the Lord kept his promise when he said he would bless all nations that came from Abraham, being Ishmael, one of those nations. Like, the Muslims are a huge thing in this world, even though, it's completely off. And I was speaking to someone that believes in that. He was telling me, I just want to let it pass. He was telling me basically that the Muslims believe Ishmael was the chosen.
Right.
And that's what it says in their book and whatnot. They also believe that the Archangel Michael dealt with Ishmael.
Oh, yeah?
But either way, they don't have prophecies. So it shows you who the Lord was dealing with. Even if it's true that Michael worked with Ishmael or told him something, because we know that the Lord can send angels to speak with anyone. It's not just Israel. So that doesn't mean that the Lord was dealing with them on that level. They don't have the prophecies like us.
Yep.
So it goes to show you, right? The proof is in the pudding.
In the pudding, yep. Because
Also, what was that man's name? It was Balaam.
Balaam?
Yeah.
Yeah, Balaam.
So it goes to show you that the Lord can deal with other nations, but he keeps his promise. So Israel is the chosen above all nations.
Right.
It doesn't matter. And he still got killed when it was time for Israel to take over. The Lord still dealt with him and still put him to death by the hand of Israel.
Yep. And it says, through thy seed shall all nations be blessed, which is really dealing with Israelites, but it will also be applied to these other nations, because when the righteous are in power, the people rejoice. Right? So all these others they're going to get that blessing, but it's going to start with Israel.
Now you
But
wanna
like the
drink
point
this?
that the brother made, the Lord can put the spirit on
Lemon water.
this other man or this person to see something, to say something. But at the end of the day,
Water
according to
for
our
me?
book,
No.
according to the scriptures, the chosen line wasn't through Ishmael. The chosen line was through Isaac. Go on. And that's what the Apostle Paul is going on. So you know what? Just like we believe what we believe, they're going to believe what they're going to believe. But like I said before, time is going to be the judge. And then when you're in the truth and when you truly understand the essence of the scriptures, you're not going to be stressed. You can have a conversation with a Muslim and not lose your mind, because if you speak to them and they can't receive it, that's the end of that. You could talk to them, but don't lose your mind because they can't receive it. If the Most High wants them to receive it, He's going to open up their mind and they're going to see it. But if He doesn't open up their mind, then that's His will.
God, Jake.
So like at one point, remember that Persian guy we was talking to?
Yeah, down there.
Yeah, eventually he realized, so if what you're saying is true, then what am I supposed to do?
Right.
Where's that leave me?
Right.
So he started realizing then I don't have a, I'm not on the board. I can't do nothing. So what am I supposed to do?
Yep, and it was spiritual when we spoke to him, because we actually had a dialogue with him. He believes, I think he believed the Baha'i faith, and we were telling him, we were going into the scriptures, and he'll bring out his side, and this is what we go by, this is what the scriptures. He said, okay, I see what you're saying, and we told him that, well, what's going to happen is ultimately they're going to bring out the MOTB, and even that conversation was an example as to how the word is only for Israel, because he wasn't an Israelite. Well, from the appearance of it, and I mean, he said he wasn't an Israelite, but let's say he wasn't an Israelite, right? If he wasn't an Israelite, the point that he made was that, okay, I understand what you guys are saying, that those that take the MOTB, they're going to be destroyed when the missiles come, and those that don't, that are of the Israelites and that are of the elect, they're going to get beamed up, they're going to be delivered, right? But I'm not an Israelite, so how would it affect me or bother me or matter to me whether I take it or not? Even if I don't take it, I'm gonna still be destroyed if I'm here.
He damned if
And
he do and damned if he don't.
There you go. And I told him, I said, you know what? That's a very good point. But you know what? I kind of like you. So leave the country. You'll find some remote area so that when the missiles hit, you don't get hit. And you know what? I might make you a taskmaster.
Oh shit.
But I told him, I see you in the kingdom. And in the kingdom, he's gonna remember us, because if he dies on this side and comes back, he's gonna remember at some point. If we be of the elect, he's gonna remember, oh shoot, I had a conversation, I ran across these men and spoke to them, and then boom, boom, boom. And we're gonna tell him, you know what? You okay. make him a taskmaster. Put him over the Edomites over there.
Yeah, because he pretty much stayed for the duration of the camp,
Yeah.
over 40 minutes.
Yep. And the Apostle Paul said, if it be at all possible, be at peace with all men. So
Right.
just because somebody is of a different viewpoint doesn't mean that it has to be hostile or conflict.
That's right.
There was a when we were up over there was a Somalian, I think, individual that came up. Y'all remember,
Yeah, I
right?
remember, yeah.
And he came up and he was going into it. He was saying, yeah, we go back to the descendants of Ham and
Yeah.
all of that, and you guys are different than us. He was
That's right.
going into that.
That's
He
right.
got a little excited, over talking a bit.
And then the other Jake got
That kid came up with the instant ride the ill, you know what I mean? He was like, yo, bro, chill out. But he had him come up. So these other nations, they know. They know. And now it's time for us to know. So the secret is out. And now we know. We've been awoken. We like Simba, who was in the Kuna Matata. So really, Timon and Pumbaa in the movie, they make him look like they was good. Really, they were
Trying
steering
to keep
Simba
him
off
away
the path.
from, yeah.
It was to no. Nala came back. She tried to use her box to get his ass to go back.
Mm-hmm.
He hit it and said, you could bounce. And then they said, and that's why they got mad, because they said when they saw that happening, they said they made a song. They said she gonna take Simba away from us, And then after that, they came to Simba, hey, how you doing, buddy? Hey, Hakuna Matata. Let's eat some bugs and shit, But Simba had a true purpose. So how did Simba wake up to who he truly was? They sent a prophet, which was Rafiki, the monkey.
The monkey.
And he had the staff, he had the white hair, he had the apple little fruit thing that he was able to see the signs, he was able to read the heavens, and they made him look like, a Simba, jumping around and shit. But ultimately, what did he do? He took Simba to the water, and then he said, look deeper. So the first time Simba looked, he said, it's just me. He said, no, you gotta look deeper. And that's when his eyes were what? Open. And that's when the heavens, he saw his father talking to him and all of that. He realized what he had to do, and he went back and did what he had to do.
He pretty much saw the father within him.
Yeah.
Because he turned out to look just like his father when he got older, but it kind of made him remember, like, oh, I'm from the lion tribe. Like,
There you go.
oh,
That's what his father said. He was like, Simba, remember who you are.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's what we're doing.
that's right.
Right? We're stirring up the pure minds by way of remembrance.
That's right.
In the land of their
They shall
captivity.
remember. Matter of fact, let's get that. Okay. Baruch, the
I
second
would
chapter.
guess.
So that's what we're doing. So we are in the stead of Rafiki. So really, the Lion King is telling the story of the Israelites.
That's right.
That are to wake up and come back to who they truly are and fulfill it. Because what was Simba was the son of the king.
That's right.
So he was a prince of the power.
That's right.
And he had to come back, wake up to who he was, and fight. What happened when Simba woke up to who he was? That's when Revelation 12 and 17, the dragon was wroth and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. So that's when this guy, Scar, right? And who was Scar? Scar was the brother of Mufasa.
Just
Mufasa,
like Esau.
Because Esau is really our uncle, right? Our father's brother.
Bring it out.
And so, Scar was mad because the promise ain't going to him. So he was always plotting on Mufasa, and he ended up killing Mufasa.
I was going to say also, you said with the monkey jumping up when he saw Simba, that's reminds me of like when the disciples saw Yahushua, they were happy because like, it was him.
Right,
It's the one that was spoken about.
Yep. And then he lifted him up when he was a baby. They had the meme where he fucking throws him off the cliff and shit. But nah, you get that.
This is Baruch chapter 2, verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me because it is a stiff-necked people. But
Now, when you stiff-necked, that's like you can't turn to the right or turn to the left. You're stuck in one way.
matter of fact, I'm talking to you.
Right.
Now, I don't want to hear anything.
That's right.
Yo, I'm talking to you. Listen, Kai, just recently went through that, so that's why I came to mind. It's like, I'm talking, look at me when I'm talking to you. And it's like a struggle.
To turn, yeah.
What do you want? It's like,
But let you try that. And she gonna freaking light the house on fire. They call the cops and say you did it.
Baruch chapter 2, verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves.
So we in the land of our now this shows you this is really talking about here, because in the previous lands of our captivities, we already knew that we were Israelites. It was in this land that we had to remember ourselves as to who we were as a nation. And so in the land of our captivity, which is here, the Most High put the spirit on certain men to wake up, and now the prophets are up. And remember, when Simba left, it wasn't right away that Rafiki didn't even know he was alive. Up until he saw the sign, he said, oh, it's Simba. And then he got all excited and shit, grabbed his shit and went and found him. You know? So for a period, right, it says that we all slumbered and slept. And then there was a cry made at midnight, the bride cometh, go ye out to meet him. And that's when all of us rose and trimmed our lamps.
All right, so I have a question. So, when did the Jewish people remember themselves? Right? When did the Jewish people remember themselves, not only remembering themselves,
The 49ers.
right? The 49ers,
During the 60s and 70s.
48ers, whatever.
yeah, when did they remember themselves?
When the elder Abba Bivens came with the teachings.
No.
No.
He's
The
making
ish.
the point that
Oh,
the
ish.
49ers are the people.
Yeah.
When did they remember it?
Right.
Right? And when were they remembering it in their captivity?
Right.
Never.
Yeah, when did they ever go into captivity? They said that they took that land over.
Oh, you talking about them?
Yeah,
Yeah,
them.
so-
The
He's
rats.
just being facetious with it, because, well, then they're gonna go back to Adolf Schicklgruber, because that's really his name. You know, they call him Hitler, but that's really his name. They're gonna go back. Oh, are you trying to say? Because you ask a question like that, right? It's a plausible question. You know what they're gonna do? They ain't gonna answer that question. They gonna come to you with something else. Are you trying to say that Holocaust didn't happen? What?
Yep.
No,
That's-
I'm
that's
just
a straw
asking.
man
That's what
argument.
they gonna do.
Like,
Yeah.
what's it called? Circumlocution.
Yeah, circle,
Going
yeah.
around it.
Going
Like,
around
that's
it.
not my question. Answer this, and then maybe we could get to that. But
Yep.
answer this first.
That's
But
what they
if I
do.
may
They hit
say-
you, and they come around, and they hit you with something else, and you're like, oh, that's not what they deflect that shit somewhere, because they know what they're gonna hit you with is gonna grab a lot of attention, and when they bring that attention, everybody's gonna say, people gonna come in later, they ain't even gonna hear what you actually said. They just gonna, oh, this man, you said what? You hear this guy, cancel him. So now anything you say, they just, oh, that's the Holocaust hater, you know?
If I
That's
may
what
say,
they
the CFR are the ones who really put that together, and the Council for Foreign Relations, and they knew it from, time ahead because of the witchcraft that they was dealing with.
Right.
So they always knew that they wasn't
Yeah,
the
yeah,
ones,
yeah.
but they gave it a appointed time, because just like with all of them devils, they always got appointed time for things.
Yeah.
So World War I was for a reason at that specific time. World War II, right around that time, is when they was bringing the new relations to those people, were bringing them over there. So they always knew. It's just the ones who they used as the specimen to play that role, they don't know. So they just think
Yeah,
straight
yeah.
up and down, no, we are actually those people. Well, you know how it goes.
They got him to sleep.
I can mention one point as well. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think any nation has ever tried to be us. They may have copied some of our heritage and things, but no nation has ever tried to call themselves Israelites. It's only Esau
Right.
that's calling himself that.
Right.
And it's like he's gonna receive the worst judgment for that, trying to be us. Because like no other nation tried to be us, and they got judged, but not harshly. But it's like you're trying to be us, and then you're gonna get judged harshly for trying to be like us.
Yep.
I wanted to add to that point. It just made me think, like, it's ironic because since Jacob, he was upset about it.
Yeah.
So it's in their spirit. They still mad that they don't have the blessing. To the point that they want to pretend to be us. They actually think, some of them actually think that when the Most High come back, he's going to forget his people.
Yep.
He's going to see them. He's going to see a bunch of small hats in the land of
Now, you
Israel
gotta look,
and think, oh, those are my people.
But you know what? That's a good point that you make, because the scriptures say that they have a perpetual hatred,
There
and
you
the
go.
perpetual is just a continual. You know, so it's something that's within them. They can't help it.
Oh, that's in Amos, right?
I forget exactly what the group, but that one is about the perpetual hatred towards us.
Because it was talking about how he's going to dish out judgments to each nation.
Yeah, I think it's the first chapter, Amos 1, for 3 transgressions against Edom.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it's also on Obadiah because of the hatred of your brother.
That's right. Go back.
Romans chapter 9, verse 8, continuing. That is, they which are the children of the flesh, these are not children of God, but the children of the promise are counted for the seed.
Right, so the children of the flesh, which are the other sons, they are not the children of God, but the children of the promise, which is who is the promise given to? Abraham, then Isaac, then Jacob. Go on. Let me see where you at. You know, here, just keep going.
For this is the word of promise, at this time will I come, and Sarah shall have a son.
And that happened in the book of Genesis when the angels came and they told Abraham that he was going to have a son. I think roughly about a year from then. And then Sarah behind the tent, she laughed. And then, you know, the angel said, "Why did you laugh?" And she said, "No, I ain't laughing." No, you did laugh. Yeah, women, man.
I believe that's Genesis 17.
Nice. Yep. And then the angel said, "Because you laughed, you're gonna have to name your son Isaac, which means laughter. Yetazakach." Go ahead.
And not-
quack.
And not only this, but when Rebekah also had conceived by one, even by our father Isaac, for the children.
So after Abraham and Sarah, then you had Isaac and Rebekah, and she conceived. That's when she had the whole the twins struggling, which was Jacob and Esau, Yaakov and Ishashua, however you want to call it. And then she said, if it be thus, if it be so, why am I thus? She went to inquire, why is this going on? Go on.
For the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of God according to the election might stand.
So you had two twins that were in the womb. Now they weren't identical twins, but there were two twins that were in the womb of Rebekah. And then the Apostle Paul is letting you know, before any of them had done anything, before they were even born, for the purpose of election to stand, what happened?
Not of works, but of him that calleth.
Not of works, because they weren't born, they hadn't done anything. But of him that calleth. Go ahead.
It was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger.
So before, now hold on one second. What if Esau came out and said, I don't want to serve, I don't want to serve Jacob. I ain't gonna serve Jacob. But guess what? Ultimately, that's gonna happen. Now, there were periods of times where we had them subject under us, but ultimately in the kingdom, that's gonna happen. And then we're gonna tell them after 1,000 years, all right, you don't want to serve no more? Cool, get in the pit. And then light the fires. That's in the book of Obadiah. Right?
It was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger, as it is written.
So who was the elder? Esau, because he came out first. And the younger was Jacob, because he came out holding on to the heel of Esau. So you know it was getting serious in there. So it was like, nah, deliver them now, because Jacob getting wild in there. I mean, Jacob, hey man, Jacob, that's a special man. He wrestled an angel. How many angels ain't no light? Man, that angel wasn't playing around. That's why he said you have power with God. You know, because, yo, my man, all right, let me go. He said, no. And they wrestled up until the sun came up. You know, and that's why the angel had to dislocate his hip. Because he's like, look, if I don't do that, this guy, you know, he's very persistent.
I believe when Jacob first met Rachel with the well, you know, the wells, they have the thing that cover the mouth of the rock.
Yeah.
And said he lifted that up by himself. That's no small rock. That's like, it's thick.
Yeah.
Thick
Yeah.
and round. So him to lift that up by himself, he saw it. I'm gonna show off for you.
Yeah. You know, in her mind, she's like,
Hercules.
yeah. You know, but hey, you know, that's Jake. That's literally Jake. You know. Go on.
As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated.
Whoa, wait, hold on. They weren't even born. Wait a minute. Hold on. Most High say he hates somebody? I thought the Most High doesn't hate anybody. And as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Jacob wasn't even born.
Mind you, he's quoting Malachi, right?
Yep.
So Old Testament and New Testament.
There you go.
So for those who are only New Testament, what do you have to say to them?
Yep. What's going on? Why is the Apostle Paul quoting the Old Testament? If the Old Testament is null and void, why do they keep saying as it is written? As it is written where? As it is written where? In the Old Testament. Right? when it says that the church of Berea, they were more, I think they said noble than these, for they searched the scriptures whether it was so. What did the church of Berea search? They couldn't have searched the New Testament because they were at the time of the New Testament. Matter of fact, their search was written in the New Testament because the New Testament was written after. So what did they search? And where did they go back to? But as the Apostle Paul said, the Most High loved Jacob and Esau. Well, Slaki, I was saying. The Most High loved Jacob and hated Esau. Go on.
As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated.
It's crazy how that works, right? Because it's like, for a blank moment, you don't think when you say that. And then you catch yourself like, oh shit, how the hell did that happen?
But then the scripture said,
You want to slip it with the tongue, but not with the heart. Yep. That's right.
What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with God?
So that's the question, right? Wait, is there but that's not fair. They weren't even born. How could you already determine that one was going to be the chosen, the good one, and one was going to be the bad? Well, when a director is writing a movie, does he not decide before the actors are even selected who's going to be who? Doesn't he decide that, all right, this guy's going to be the bad guy, and this guy's going to be the good guy? He does. Go on.
God forbid. For he saith to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion.
Yeah, so it ain't unrighteous with the Most High. He does the point in that verse is the Most High says, I do what I want to do. As a matter of fact, can we get real quick, Revelation chapter 4, and I think it's either verse 11 or verse 13. Yeah, Revelation 4. The last verse. What verse is that? 13 or 11?
11.
Yep, let's read that.
Revelation chapter 4, verse 11. Thou art worthy, O Lord, Yahweh Bashem El Shai, to receive glory and honor and power, for thou hast created all things, and for thy pleasure they are and were created.
There you go. So everything was made for the Lord's pleasure. So guess what? He does what he wants to do. So if he says before they're born, I love Jacob, and this is the one that I want to love, and this is the one I want to hate. That's like going to Foot Locker, and you like, I want those Air Force Ones, and then the worker, the stock associate is like, nah, what you mean you want the Air Force Ones? Why don't you? No, you gotta get the LeBrons. And you're like, no, this is the one I want. But no, you can't do that. That's not fair. That's not fair to the LeBrons. You ain't even worn them yet. How you know you like the Air Force over the LeBrons? No, you gotta wear both of them. Now, you can't do that. What you gonna look at that dude like?
What's the problem? I want what I want.
Thank you.
I like these.
That's it. I like it and I want it. So that's what the Most High said. This is the one that I've chosen. And it's so hypocritical because people in their real life, they do the same thing. But they're gonna turn around and get mad because the Most High does that. Do you not pick what you like and what you don't like? Are you obligated to like everybody? No. There's some people you like and some people you hate. How is it that when the Most High does that, that's a problem? Crazy.
You hate people that constantly do you wrong, especially if you give them a bunch of chances. But the Lord gotta accept everybody when they just messing up every damn day.
Right.
So then it is not of him that willeth, nor of him that runneth.
So there goes your free will. It ain't about him that willeth. So it ain't about what you want to do, nor him that runneth, nor what you actually do. Go ahead.
But of God that showeth mercy.
But of the Most High that shows mercy. So whatever, keep going.
For the scripture saith unto Pharaoh, even for this same purpose have I raised thee up.
So why did the Most High raise up Pharaoh? So that he could bring him down and magnify his name. Go ahead.
That I might show my power in thee.
So the Most High said the only reason I raised up Pharaoh was so I could show my power. You ain't nobody special, and that's the same thing now. The reason the Most High got Esau in power right now is so that the Most High can flex his power when he takes his place down. It ain't about how special Esau is.
And if I may say, just to point out how Esau's not done away with, he's written up in the New Testament.
Right. Yep.
In there and in Hebrews 12.
Yep.
So how is Paul was speaking about Esau?
Right. Yeah, because they were alive at the time. They knew it. John Hyrcanus, I believe the second, converted Edomites. He forced them. So where did they come from? I thought they were extinct. And the Israelites knew that Herod was an Edomite, and they knew that Antipater was an Edomite. That's why they didn't like him. And Herod had to send spies among the people to find out who was talking behind him and who wasn't, and he would execute people.
Which is something similar to what they do today with their technology, watching us and things like that.
There you go.
Because they're always afraid.
I also wanted to speak about that point because Esau has he knows who we are, and it's blatant now. I've seen a video a couple of years ago, and I guess these were two Christian men just speaking to each other, and they had a pretty huge following. I think the video had hundreds of thousands of views, and in this video, this man is saying this is what he's saying, and I believe that he knows who the Israelites are. He knows who we are and whatnot, and this is why he wanted to spread this message. He said the Israelites in the Old Testament sold their soul to Satan for powers, right? The blessing that Israel was given by the Most High, Esau is trying to create a doctrine where the Israelites sold their soul. They were these messed up people who were making sacrifices and whatnot to the devil. And I believe this was a Christian forum.
Hi. I have two African brothers here, and they want to ask you questions.
You have two brothers?
I have a Somali brother here. He has questions for you.
Hey, what's up?
Come on, Dirk Cat.
On East African Jews? Like Colossian Jews? Repeat that? Ultimately, if you go back into the history, a lot of those Jews over there actually go back to our people. We are, at the end of the day, a lot of those people are from the same line as us. Not every single one of them, but a good majority of them. Now, are you aware of the knowledge of the time during the siege of Jerusalem, back during the Roman Empire? What happened? No, under Vespasian and his son Titus. All right. So I'm gonna give you a quick history on that, but I recommend looking it up. Now, when you go back into the history, we know that when the Roman Empire came up into power, they subjected Judea as a province under Rome during the time of Pompey. And he subjected us under them. Now, during the New Testament, when the Lord is on the scene, the apostles and all of that, the Roman Empire is in rulership, and we are under them. Now, it got to a certain point where the Israelites started to rebel, the Jews started to rebel against the Roman Empire. They wanted to fight back. And the emperor at the time, which was Nero, sent Vespasian, which was one of the military generals, to go and to quell the rebellion. In the process of all of that, Nero ended up committing suicide. Vespasian goes, and when he hears about this, he leaves his son Titus to go and finish the siege while he goes back to become emperor over there in Rome. Now, during that time, when they besieged Jerusalem, you had a lot of Jews that fled into Jerusalem, and at the time when they destroyed the walls and all of that, there was a lot of atrocities going on. But during this whole time period, it tells you in the book, there's a book called From Babylon to Timbuktu. And in that book, it tells you that you had over 1 million Jews that fled from Israel into Africa. And when they fled, some of them settled over there in North Africa, in Alexandria, Egypt. There's a lot of Israelites in Alexandria, Egypt. Some of them came down to where you have in Ethiopia, and the bulk of them settled around the western coast of Africa. Now, this is actual history. When you look it up, you'll find it. And I'm from the western coast of Africa, so I know. Now, those people, you had some that were in the east and some that were in the west. And during the time of slavery, when they came to the coasts over there in the east, and they got the majority of the Israelites that were dwelling there. Here's the difference. in Africa, you had Africans that were already dwelling there. Now, yeah, Hamites. Are you are you familiar with Noah and his 3 sons? Nice, beautiful. So now Noah, we know Noah had 3 sons. He had Ham, Shem, and Japheth, right? Right. When you go into that, the progenitor or the forefathers of the Africans, which today you have like the Egyptians, the the native Ethiopians, and all of them, Cush, Canaan, all of them, Mizraim, their forefather goes back to Ham. The forefather of the Israelites goes back to Shem. Right? So the Israelites are Shemites. So these are 2 different nations. You got something? All right, cool. So what we're going to bring out real quick is, this is from the Zondervan's Compact Bible Dictionary. And we're going to go into the definition of Ham. It's going to tell you who is Ham. I want this brother to read it real quick, and then I'm going to tie that into the point that I'm making. I'm sorry? No. They came to the western coast, to Ivory Coast, Sierra Leone, Ghana. No. So I think there's a little confusion here. I'm not saying that there was a slave trade in Ethiopia. I'm saying that there was a slave trade in the western part of Africa, in Ghana, in Ivory Coast, and Sierra Leone, and these different ports, Ivory, all of that. Okay, so here's what I want you to do, right? I want you to look up the history of where did the Jews flee to when they left from Israel during the siege. During that time period, where did the bulk of the Jews come and settle when they left from Jerusalem and came into Africa? And you'll find out they fled from persecution, and you'll find out that a majority of them did settle in the western parts of Africa. And even in the slave ports, there's one called Almena Castle. They actually have it where the slave masters knew that those that were there were actual descendants of the Jews.
So just to make sure during the siege of Israel and the Exodus, during the Exodus, some of the Jews fled to West Africa.
Yes, exactly.
He just said that they didn't. Your boy just said that they didn't.
It's all good. Yep, that's pretty much the bulk of that. Now, the point that I wanted to make in addition to that is, I'm gonna have this brother read about Ham, just to bring that point out real quick, and then tie it all in.
So this is a definition of Ham. It says the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of the 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races.
Of the dark races. Now, it's going to explain to you what people of the dark races Ham was a progenitor of. Go ahead.
He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes.
Not the Negroes. Go ahead.
But the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, Canaanites.
So you have Libyans, Ethiopians, Egyptians, Canaanites. Therefore, their line goes back to Ham. But the Negroes, right? The Negroes, their line does not go back to Ham. Their line goes back to Shem. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this is that these Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, who we're known by those names today, but when you go back into history, we are the ones who are the children of Israel. And when we were put in slavery, they took that away from us and called us black and Negroes and all of these things. Now, when we fled into Africa, there were already Hamites, right? There were already Egyptians and Ethiopians and people living there. But we are of similar complexion, so we're both brown and dark skinned. Because of that, people have a misconception and they think that everybody that is living on the continent of Africa is African, because we all have the same complexion. So you'll often hear people say Africans sold Africans into slavery, but that's not actually what happened. You had native Africans that sold Israelites who had fled into Africa into slavery.
So, to make sure I'm understanding, the Semites sold the Hamites.
No, the Hamites sold the Shemites.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
Right, because think about it. If you are a Hamite, why would you sell your own fellow Hamite to another just to sell them into slavery? It would make much more sense that you knew these Shemites came into your land, so you knew where they were and who they were, and you knew that their customs were different from yours. So when these slave masters came looking for them, you knew exactly who to get, how to get them, and that's what they did.
Shit.
Right. So now check this out, right? Okay. I understand your point. And that's a valid point that you make. Now, a lot of the history that proves that you have Israelites in Western Africa is now, when you go to when you mention nobility, right? When you go to the kings and the palaces in Africa, Ghana, for example, they will actually tell you that the lines and the records go back to the Israelites that came there, like the Ashantis. The Ashantis, they go back to the children of Israel, and they actually know that they are descendants of them, of the Hebrews. But specifically the Israelites, either of the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, or Levi, right? A lot of that history is not publicly known today because it's deliberately hidden. Why is it deliberately hidden? When you look at those that put us into slavery and all of that, today when people think of Jews, yes, you have the Jews in Africa, but they also think of the Jews that are in Israel, right? But they call themselves Jewish. When you go into the actual history, these are people that converted to Judaism. These are not people whose line actually goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. These are not people whose line actually goes back to the true Israelites by blood. These are people that converted to Judaism, call themselves Jews, and now today the world accepts that. And they hid the actual history of the true Jews. Because now you have to ask yourself, okay, let's think about these black people, right? These African Americans, these Negroes. Why is it that the slavery that we know about was specific to just them? Why come there? Why grab them? Why bring them and put them in slavery and then not allow them to read? Say that they're black. What is black? If you look at me, I'm brown. So what about me makes me black? These are all... I'm sorry, go ahead. Yes, we go...
We're teaching right now.
First,
I'll take a picture.
yeah, take a picture for them.
You can put us on camera.
The first book is the Bible.
Do you guys want to be on camera?
Yeah, they can find, you guys can find the videos that we have on YouTube anyway.
Yeah. Let me find. Which book are you guys on? Okay, so I have a question. So you think that Jews like I'm not gonna teach you. So you think like Jews like me are not?
Are you Jewish?
Yes, I am.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't know. I'm like Sephardi Jewish. I'm from Europe originally. I just moved here, so I was wondering. Like, I don't know. I like that.
Okay, this is perfect. This is perfect. Now, we are Israelites. There's different groups, like in Christianity, you have like Baptist, Methodist, Catholic, right? They're all Christians, but some of them believe different things. So we are Israelites. You might run across another group of Israelites that may tell you something slightly different. They'll tell you we're Israelites and all of that, but now there's a topic of Israelite foreigners. Cool. when you go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, matter of fact, could you give me Deuteronomy 28 and 64? So we're gonna back up what we're saying from the scriptures. I don't want to talk too much out of my own mind. I'm gonna tell you from the scriptures because that's our source. Now, you said you're Jewish, right? Do you guys follow like just the Torah?
Torah and Talmud.
Torah and Talmud? Cool. So no like New Testament and none of that,
No,
right?
no.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna get you a scripture. Now the Torah is the first 5 books of the Bible, right? Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Deuteronomy, Numbers, right? Cool. So we're gonna go into the book of Deuteronomy in the Torah. And this is during the time of Moses when he led us out of Egypt and he gave us the laws of the Lord. This is what he told us. He said, look, start actually at the 15th verse and then we're gonna jump down. Now, right now, Moses is in the wilderness with the children of Israel. This is what he's telling us.
And even if you see right here, it says, starting with the king, it says, consequences of disobedience. It says, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So when we made a covenant with the Lord by sacrifice, the Lord gave us laws, statutes, and commandments to follow. And what Moses is saying here is if you don't follow these laws, the Lord is going to put these curses as punishments upon you and your children and so on and so forth. And these curses are going to remain on your lineage all the way continuously. So now we're going to read one of those curses because this is how we identify that we are those people. This is one of the ways we identify that. Because a lot of the records are hidden. So now I'm going to tie this back into relating to you. Yes, we're going, that's the same chapter, Deuteronomy 28. But the verse we read was the 15th verse. And now we're going to jump down and read some of these curses. Now, we know that the word of the Lord is absolute. And if he says these curses are going to happen to you, that's what's going to happen to you.
Wait, but like, so do you guys recognize he's Jewish from? No.
Well, I'm building up to that point.
Building,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, you just got to bear with me.
Okay.
64, yeah.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 64.
So one of the curses was,
And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people,
so the Lord was going to scatter the Israelites among all people. Go ahead.
from the one end of the earth, even to the other end.
So from east to the west, we were going to be scattered. That was it on the what?
And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known.
So wherever we would be scattered, we would serve the gods over there. Now, here's an example. Through being captivity, when we got taken over by another nation, like the Assyrians, for example, they took us out of our land and took us to another land. What happens when you have an Israelite that ends up in like China, for example? He stays there. Eventually, if he's a man, he'll find a woman. And it might be a Chinese woman. And then he might lay with her and have a child. Now, there's the case where, let's say the Israelite looks like me, but a Chinese woman looks like her. And then the child comes out looking like her, right? The phenotype, he takes on his mother's traits. But his genes, his lineage really goes back to, and that's one other thing, right? You guys follow the lineage.
Yeah.
Yes, you guys follow the lineage from the mother, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Numbers 1 and 18. We follow through the father, through the seed. Like when you read a lot of the genealogies, you'll see that it mentions the father, like Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and it goes through the father because the father carries the seed. And you can think of the seed like a regular seed, right? If you take an apple seed, it doesn't matter where on the planet you plant it, what seed goes into the earth is what comes out of it, right? So the genes that go into the woman are what come out of the woman.
Okay, I have a question that's kind of controversial, yes.
Okay.
What about what happened in slavery? What happened with masters raping slaves?
Okay, so if you had like a white master, took like a black slave, raped them, the baby that would come out would be of the line of the master. And he may look like the mother, they may treat him like a slave, but he's actually of the seed of the father. Because that's the genes of the father was what was put into the mother. And then the child came out. Now, I'm saying this to make the point that when the Israelite, like me, right, lays with a Chinese woman, the baby comes out looking like her. Then he has more children and more children and more children. What ends up happening a couple of generations from there? You have a bunch of Israelites that look like Chinese people. Now, if they came up to you, you just look at them and say, these guys are Chinese people.
Yeah.
They speak like them, they look like them, but their line actually goes back to me, who ended up over there. So when we got scattered into these nations, that's what happened. We started populating and going on. So what this means is you have Israelites that are living in these different lands that look like these other nations, but they are actually true Israelites that go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You could be one from the line of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, living in that land amongst the people that you're living amongst, and you may not know it. I can't just look at you and say, you're not an Israelite because you don't look like the typical look of an Israelite. I need to test your spirit by the scriptures.
Okay.
See, so when you say that, like, I don't, like, do we not acknowledge you as a Jew? We can't just tell you straight up off the top that we don't think you're an Israelite just because you look like another nation, because that's not what the scriptures say. Now, in terms of the actual other, like, Jewish people that are not like people that were Israelites that dwelt among them and did that, those are not the actual Israelites. Now, are you familiar with the story of Jacob and Esau?
Yeah.
Cool. Esau was the brother of Jacob. You had Abraham, and then Abraham had Isaac,
Yeah.
and then he was going to sacrifice Isaac, but then the Lord stopped him. And then Isaac had Jacob and Esau. They were two twins. And then they were fighting inside of the womb. This is in the book of Genesis. Like, if you go back and reread it, I think Genesis 27th chapter. Like,
that's the when you supply them. I think it's 25.
yeah, start around the 20th, Genesis the 20th chapter on down, and you'll get the history of that.
All right.
Now,
I'm sorry, I'm in a rush
Okay,
now.
go
But one more question. You guys acknowledge the New Testament, too?
yes, we acknowledge the New Testament as well. Because why don't you acknowledge the New Testament?
I
Because you were taught. That's how you were taught, right?
yeah.
That's how you were brought up.
They were.
Matter of fact, get up 1 Thessalonians 5:21. Because you got to think about it, right?
And Hebrews too, like you was bringing up.
The New Testament is a part of the whole book.
Mm-hmm.
We have no reason not to believe the New Testament.
So you acknowledge Jesus as a Messiah.
Yes, we do acknowledge him as the Messiah because you know he's actually written of in the Old Testament, and he was prophesied to come. Even Moses in the Torah speaks about it.
If he was, but not in the case of Jesus Christ.
Okay, so do you think he has come already, or he hasn't?
I don't think he's.
Hey,
think he's come yet?
can I mention one thing? In the Hasidic beliefs, they believe that the Mashiach is walking around as a physical man right now. And I don't know his name, but they make a big thing in Times Square every year to speak about the Mashiach being here now. And this
Oh, yeah,
man...
I've seen those signs.
Yeah,
Messiah's here.
yeah, and the guy is like a physical man who's gonna eventually die off without y'all people being redeemed and saved from this world. So if y'all Messiah is a man that can physically die and is not a savior,
Bring him up.
which Messiah means, how is he y'all savior if he's a physical man that's damn near 70 or 80 years old who's like 1 foot in the grave?
Well, but you gotta. Do you guys believe like?
They believe that the
I think
Mashiach...
some of them. I think
Yeah.
some of them subscribe to that, and
Some
then
of them,
some of
yeah.
them don't, right? So, to be fair, like you said, you don't believe in the New Testament, right? You don't think that the Lord has come back yet.
I feel like we wouldn't be here if he has come back.
Well, so here's the thing, right? The Lord was prophesied to come back on the scene. Now, according to the New Testament, we believe he did come back on the scene, and he died on the cross. But when he came back that time, his job wasn't to do what you think he's going to do when he comes back this time. His job then was to reconcile us back to the Father as Israelites, to die for our sins. Then he went back to the spirit world. This time he's going to make a second return. That's what we're waiting for as well. He's coming back again. Now, when he comes back this time, it is not going to be the same way he came back before. Now,
No
when
bowl
you-
of cherries.
you guys' understanding of the scriptures, when you think of the Most High, right? Does the Most High do evil? Does he kill? Does he do any of that stuff?
I don't know.
No? Okay. What was that? Okay, so I have a question for you. You said God is all knowing, so all actions by God is all good. Is God all powerful? Can you be all powerful and all good at the same time? How so? Okay, so here's the point right here, right? Is God lacking in anything? Can we do something that God cannot do? So, can God be evil? I'm sorry? No, but no. I agree with what you're saying, but I think we shouldn't get the word good. I think we shouldn't get the word good confused with righteous. Is it good to kill somebody? Okay. But so why does God command us to kill people? Thank you. Because what happens when a woman commits adultery according to the laws in the Torah, and she is found? She must be stoned to death, right? So those that are stoning her to death, are they not killing her at the commandment of God? So is killing bad? But now I know you're getting a little messed up here, because the commandments say thou shalt not kill, right? You got to understand the difference between the two. Thou shalt not kill is referring to murder. Murder is actually different from killing. Murder is when you premeditate. When you say, I see this person over here, I don't like this person, or this person has a nice chain that I like, I'm gonna kill them and take their chain. That's murder. Now, when you put somebody to death according to the law, that's not murder, that's killing. So that's why I asked you, does God, so there's the difference between good and righteous. It's righteous to put somebody to death according to the laws of the Most High. Well, I'm sorry, what was that? Yes, everything the Most High does is righteous. But the Most High does good and evil, which are both righteous, because somebody would say, first off, the word evil means a bad time. Evil goes, when you break it up, you have ev, which is an age, and ill, which means bad. So the word evil means a bad time. Putting somebody to death is a bad time. It is evil, but it is righteous because it is according to the will of the Most High. So I agree that the Most High has a grand plan and he's in control of it all, but you got to understand that the Most High can't be all powerful and all good, because he would be lacking.
In and out.
Go. So I see what you're saying, right? Now, first, we're not black Hebrew Israelites. That's a label that they put on us to make it seem like it's just a black thing. But we say that the predominant Israelites today are known as Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Those are the names that we're given now, but going back to the scriptures, we go back to the 12 tribes of Israel. Now, we agree that there's 12 tribes of Israel, right? The Jews are only one tribe. The word Jews was actually a derogatory term that the Romans put on the 3 tribes of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. But the Jew, if you're a Jew, it simply means that you go back to the tribe of Judah. So that means that there's another 11 tribes that are not accounted for. So are all those 11 tribes also in Ethiopia? So, what do you think? So, if not all the Jews are in Ethiopia, where are the rest of them? Parts of, now, is that based on fact or is that based on what you're thinking? Now, so you know, you guys are making, you like, I understand what you're saying right now. You mentioned about descending from Solomon. Do you guys believe that the Queen of Sheba had she had intercourse with Solomon and then had descendants? Is that part of the records you are referring to as well?
They say that Ethiopia is descended from someone not from they don't specify where obviously it's presumed.
Okay. Do you have any records that Solomon's descendants, or the Ethiopians are Solomon's descendants? Do you have any solid proof of who Solomon laid with that brought forth the Ethiopians?
No.
Right. Now, who when you're recognized based on something, right? You can't just say today somebody may be recognized for something, but if you dig to the root, that may not be based on facts. So how can you prove that just because you're recognized? I acknowledge that yes, you do have Jews over there in Ethiopia, but we're not discrediting Jews, African Jews, or saying that we're stealing anybody's shine and glory. We are Israelites, which is actual documented history that we fled. The majority of us fled from Israel into Africa and other parts of the world, including Europe. Come again?
So you would say that you are reclaiming your birthright.
Yes, that's exactly what we would say.
Okay, last question. Where's Cohen tribe?
Who?
Do you recognize Cohen tribe?
Cohen? What do you
Yeah.
mean?
Because Cohen's are the Eastern tribe.
Oh, okay. Yes. So we call them Kahan, Hebrew, for the priests, right?
Yeah.
They would be the tribe of Levi.
Yeah.
So these are the priests who would do the sacrifices and perform those
My understanding
rituals.
was that Cohen's are were the priests, Levi's were the gatekeepers.
No. The priests came from the Levites. So the people, you could only be a priest if you were from the tribe of Levi.
Like here when you like join a shul, you can choose like you're a Cohen, Levi, or Israelite.
See, like you said, the key word was choose. You can choose. You can say I'm Judah. You can say I'm Judah if you want. It don't go like that. Because just like when people take DNA tests and they find out this is the father, you can say you the father, but the DNA proves that he's the father. You can't just choose to say that was my sperm seed.
No, but I understand. I
Like when
understand.
you declare yourself, I guess.
Yeah,
you're
declaring yourself
familiar
is taking.
with history.
No, but
taking
I
somebody's
understand what you're
birthright.
saying because this is how you guys do it.
Yeah.
Right, but we're saying that when you go into the Bible or even the Torah, where you hear about it, read the Torah or ask your whoever taught you and all that. Ask them those questions and ask them to actually show you in the scriptures, because what you guys do today has to be based off the Torah, right? It's
Yeah.
recognized off of the Torah, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you can go into Numbers. We've read it. When you read it, you find out that there is no. So an Israelite, right? An Israelite means that you are a descendant of Israel.
Yeah.
Now you had Abraham, and then you had Isaac, which was his son, and then you had Jacob, which was the son of Isaac. Jacob got his name changed to Israel. So when you say you're an Israelite, the light is actually a word, a suffix meaning you pertain to or belong to.
Yeah.
So an Israelite is one that descends from Israel.
Yeah.
Israel had 12 sons. These are the 12 sons who the 12 tribes come from.
Okay.
You cannot be a Levite or an Israelite because Levi comes from Israel. And you cannot be a priest or a Levite because the priests come from the Levites.
Yeah.
A priest can only be from the Levites
Yeah.
right here.
No, my understanding was that Cohen's priests were, matrilineal, while Levites were patrilineal.
So it goes back to, so then it goes back to the
Yeah.
lineage thing, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and honestly, look, this is how you were raised, and this is how we go according to the scriptures.
Sure.
So
I mean,
we don't like. I'm not gonna say, hey, you gotta stop whatever you're doing because this is how you were raised. This is how you were raised. If the Lord opens up your eyes to see it and say, you know what, maybe let me do some extra digging and see, is this actually is see what they were actually talking about, and you see something, that's up to the Lord. All our job is to just give you the information according to the scriptures.
yeah, I appreciate your time for me and for my two friends.
Yeah, definitely. Your two friends, hey.
Yeah. This one, the normal accent, he's from Somalia. The other one is from Libya.
Okay, well, hey, look. You guys might be Israelites living in those lands. I don't know, but matter of fact, so the prophecies tell you that you would have Israelites scattered in those lands. So you guys just might be Israelites. Your line might go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but so do us. Our line also goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So you might not have to worry about the case that we're stealing you guys' history, because at the end of the day, who's to say that we're not the same people? I'm not saying Ethiopians and Israelites are the same people. I'm saying you have Israelites living in Ethiopia and in Libya and in these different parts of the world. So but you know what? Ultimately, he said, "I recognize the wisdom of your words." Hey, but it's not me. It's the spirit of the Heavenly Father. That's speaking through me. So this is pretty much what it is. Now I know from the outward, when you don't actually speak to us and come up and listen, you just see us here with garments on, with the Bible, and you basically hear what the general consensus about Black Hebrew Israelites is. But when you actually have to do like what you guys did, come and actually ask and find out for yourself, is what I'm hearing and experiencing the same as what I'm seeing online? Because it might not be the same. So the scriptures say, prove all things. Now, since you're here, before I let you go, we gotta at least hit you with some prophecies. So now, according to the scriptures, you don't believe in the New Testament. But you know what? Maybe when you see this, you might become a believer.
Okay.
When you go into the New Testament, the Apostle John, the Lord, matter of fact, let's get that real quick. Revelation 13. The Most High gave him visions of what would happen in this time that we're living. A part of that is what you're seeing going on. Inflation, that's written up in the Bible. That's in Revelation, the 6th chapter.
Is that the apocalypse?
Yes, the apocalypse and
The
all
rich
hell.
pretending to be poor and, I don't know, reap.
But yes,
Yeah.
all of those things, the things you see happening in the world right now, they're actually written up in the New Testament, which even gives more validation to the New Testament. How can something that was written over 2,000 years ago come to pass so accurately today?
I mean, we were talking about this the other day.
So, the
Let
mark.
me hear.
Yeah, I got
The source.
Salakia YouTube, but I gotta say this, right? The mark of the beast in Revelation 13, we call it MOTV as an acronym because they take down our videos whenever we speak on it. Yeah, they actually take down our videos in our channel. They call it misinformation because they know there's some truth coming out. But anyway, so we're gonna read into that and show you, you're gonna see this. Now, I'm sure you've already heard about it, but it's a tiny microchip that they're implanting under people's skin. Have you guys heard about that?
No,
Look it up.
the Neuralink.
Neuralink is related,
Yeah.
which is going into the brain. We're gonna read about that, but they're also putting actual microchips in people's hands as a form of payment. Instead of a credit card, debit card, the new system is gonna be their chip. They're gonna scan it. Now, right now, the economy is not doing so well here in America, and really the global economy. They're talking about inflation and fears of a recession. This is deliberate. They're deliberately doing this because they're trying to switch from this monetary system to a digital one. And in the digital one is when you're gonna see people lining up to get this. For the algorithms, I gotta say, the thing. They're gonna get the thing inside of them. That's biblical prophecy, so let's read it. Elon Musk's Neuralink, biblical prophecy. You hear about the whole Russia-Ukraine situation, right? According to Bible prophecy, Iran is going to join on the side of Russia, and so is Turkey. And you're going to have China and all of them as well. That's biblical prophecy. World War III is going to happen. These are the beginnings of that. So read that real quick. Yeah, 13 and 16.
This is Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. And he calls it all.
Now, have you ever heard about the Illuminati or like any of that?
Yeah.
You said yeah?
If they said yeah, then yeah, I have.
That's great. These are like the super rich top banking families, like the top of the elite. They pretty much run everything in secret.
Probably heard the names like Rockefeller.
Rockefeller, Rothschilds.
BlackRock, Vanguard.
Yeah. So Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, what's this guy's name? Elon Musk. They're all like low level compared to these guys.
Super
Yeah.
low level.
I'm mentioning these guys because read Revelation 13 real quick.
Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. And he calls it all, both small and great.
So now whether you are actually an Israelite or not, you can bear witness to this because when it happens in real life, you'll have that flashback of this moment like, oh my gosh, this is what these guys were talking. I'm sure your friends would also remember as well. But go back in and read that.
Verse 16.
Uh-huh.
And he calls it all.
And he is talking about these elites. And they're gonna cause. When you go into the word cause, we know that the Bible was originally not written in English. It was written in Hebrew, then you had Greek, Latin, and you have English. So you gotta go back to the original language here, which for the New Testament in this verse is Greek. The Greek word for causative is poeo, which means that he's gonna prepare the whole world to be ready to receive his mark. Now the past 2 years you had the pandemic situation, right? On the outward appearance, yeah, you know, there's a new thing out here infecting people, but inwardly, this is all set up. They deliberately did that, and they've actually come out and said it. They deliberately worked on a pathogen, right, and released it. This is actually true. Now, you can look it up. Fauci and Burke, they admitted that they lied about everything they told us.
Am I on camera, right?
No, it's just
Okay.
Shift it.
I honestly, I believe everything. Wuhan and everything you're saying, so.
Yeah, make don't get.
Oh, okay.
Huh?
Wait, could you repeat that? So we're gonna call it the shot because of the algorithms, right? But it's not. This is not godly, but it's also not the mark. The mark. The mark is gonna come after. This is to remember. We're reading that he's gonna cause everybody to receive the mark. This is the causing, because what he is doing is he's conditioning the world to be able to have to now. You are required to receive something in your body and show proof of it in order to do anything, to work, to go to the store, to go to all of these things. That was to prepare people's minds. The next thing they're going to require you to put in your body is going to be that actual thing, either here or in your head.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
If I may say, the whole, the shot was basically a trial run or a test run to see how people react. Because like we were saying, the word causing is to make ready to prepare. So they're trying to see and make people ready to see who's going to falter and who's going to take this thing when we're ready to prepare people for what we're going into, the thing that they really want to put inside you, the little, I'm going to call it a subdermal object, or, you know, implantable device inside your body. Because what they did with the shot and with the whole pandemic was to see if people are going to, what they can do, basically make laws or put policies in order to push people to take the thing, because they can't forcibly make you take it. But if they implement laws to make you take it and say, like me, I work security, but I can't work in nursing homes because, basically if you work in, well, some can get away with it, not all, but if you work in nursing homes, you can't work in a nursing home because you need that thing.
Yeah.
So that's forcing my hand to take it. So they're not actually putting me to it, but they're pushing me
Indirectly.
to go take it.
Indirectly. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna tell you. No. You're not supposed to take it. If you take it, when the Lord comes back, He's gonna destroy you. Because remember how we said when you commit adultery or murder, you're gonna be put to death. Well, if you take this thing, you're gonna be put to death. That's also in there. Now it's called the hour. It's called the hour of temptation because you're gonna be tempted when You're sick, but you can't go to the hospital because you don't have this.
Yeah.
You're hungry, but you can't get food to eat because you don't have this. How do you pay for rent if you don't have this? Everything is going to be designed to make to where it's almost like you don't exist because you don't have this thing. That's the tempting. And if you give in and you take it, it's going to be even worse, because when the Lord comes back, you're going to need to answer to him.
Well, we should have known that a year ago.
No, not the shop.
Okay.
The thing that's coming
Oh,
next,
okay.
the actual thing.
Okay.
So you might be good. The Lord might have mercy. Do not take the
I will not.
yes. Don't take it. Don't take it. But you was gonna say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, just to add on to the point what he's saying, not to hold you up, but this is an important thing, because this is really your life, your salvation. To add to his point, that's what you, like I was saying, you saw with the whole the shot. Basically, what you took it, right? But you felt pressure to, right? You probably didn't really want to take it.
I had to
You
go to
asked.
school for birth.
How many?
I didn't do the third one.
So that's what they're saying. They're going to do things affect your normal day life to pressure you to take it.
Same thing. But it'll be on a much higher level, because now, you see, do you live here or? Yeah. Okay. So now what you're gonna see is, so you should come listen, because we got a lot of information that we're going to every time we in. But now what you see is they're telling you can't work, you can't go to school, right? But there's a famine coming. When you look at the farmers, they're telling you, look, we can't plant any crops, things are getting bad. There's a global famine coming.
Like Ukraine, wheat.
Grains, yes. And now, when that happens, eventually they're gonna ration food. All the different governments, they're gonna start rationing food. Here's the problem. You have to live by their conditions if you want your rations. Now they tell you, hey, in order to identify everybody, you need to come, we need to scan your mark for you to get your rations, because this is your ID. You come and say, I don't have a mark. Sorry, you can't get any food. Now you're what? Oh, it's been 2 days, I haven't eaten. I need to go and take, that's the temptation.
Yeah.
But that's when you have to pray to the Lord, because the Lord can, the Lord can just manifest food for you. Like he's the Most High. That's where you gotta have the faith and say, you know what, Lord, I'm not gonna take this, and no matter what happens, I'm gonna trust in you that you'll give me another way. It's 3 days and I'm very hungry and thirsty, but I'm sure you can, like you did with Moses, have a rock just open up and give me water, right? The Lord can do that. These are miracles.
Yeah.
If you have faith, the Lord is going to do those miracles for you. That's what a lot of people are not. A lot of your family members, they're going to turn around and look at you like you're crazy and say, look, are you going to commit, are you just going to let yourself die because God doesn't want you to take this? That's a part of the temptation. But guess what? When the Lord comes back, they're going to have to answer for that.
Honestly, yeah. Even without like Lord and faith, without knowing this, I wouldn't take that thing.
I hope so, because remember, things are easier said than done.
I know.
And right now, you're not hungry. Right now, you can go home. Right now, everything is still okay. But can you make that same decision when you haven't eaten in 2-3 days?
Yeah.
That's the temptation. That's what you need to prepare your mind for. Yes, the wheat from the, yeah, that's it. Now, finish reading that verse, because we actually want to read it, not just, say it. So read it again, and I'm going to explain it.
Revelation chapter 13, verse 16.
So the Apostle John saw, the Lord showed him a vision of this present time. And what he saw was what we're about to read. He saw a lot of people lining up and getting this thing, because the people realized if they didn't have it, they couldn't do anything. They couldn't buy or sell anything. So that's what he's going to go on to say.
And he calls it all.
So these rulers, these elites, they're going to cause everybody, that's the all, go ahead,
Both small and great,
both small and great.
rich and poor,
So whether you're lower class, middle class, high class, go ahead.
free and bond,
Whether you're walking around freely like us, bond means to be in jail or shackled up or in prison. So whether you're an inmate or you're walking freely, go ahead.
to receive a mark.
All of them, everybody's going to be caused. Not that everybody's going to take it, but everybody's going to be caused. Why? Because this is a new world order, a new world system. So everybody in the world is going to be affected. So he's going to cause them to do what?
I'll read it again. And he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead.
So he's gonna, and that's the Neuralink, because they put it in your brain, but they're gonna scan it from here. And he said to receive a mark. So how do we know that the mark is actually the thing we're telling you? You got to go into the word mark. What is the word? What is the Greek word there, and what does it mean? The Greek word for mark is charagma, which is a thing inserted underneath the skin. Charagma is when you go beneath the surface. So they're gonna insert something into your body under your skin, and keep reading.
Verse 17. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark.
Meaning, if you don't have the mark, you cannot buy or sell anything. So that tells us that the mark is related to what? Currency. Buying and
Yo.
selling. What?
Oh.
That's a balloon.
No, underneath it.
Come this way. Come all the way where I'm at.
That's not the Don't play with this. Come on. That's,
Oh yeah, let's put the cherry.
You don't see that up there in the
Those two
sky?
white-
Yeah, I do.
it's like four.
It's like a fleet of them.
Yeah? Oh,
Yeah,
oh.
you back.
Wait, no.
I see it.
Oh, nah, some of them is balloons.
I think there might be balloons. But
Damn it,
typically,
man.
we're not going to go into that subject, but I know.
I,
But going back in there, so we know this is dealing with currency, right?
okay.
Now, with this currency, which is this thing, if you don't have it, you can't go to the store, you can't buy or sell, you can't do anything, right? Cool. Jump to 14 and 9. This is the penalty for taking it, and then we're going to let you go, because I know you got to go.
It's almost 5.
Revelation chapter 14, verse 9. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image,
So now the beast being
Big,
NATO
yeah.
and the EU, them, right, as a
Uh-huh.
whole, if you worship them, that means that you bow down and consent onto whatever they impose on you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
and receive his mark in his forehead,
Meaning when they issue out the thing, you go and you take it. Go ahead.
or in his hand.
So if you take it in here, or you take it in here, go ahead. What's going to happen to you?
Now, just quick point, it says hand, so it doesn't matter if it's the right, left,
Left, yeah.
if you receive it at home.
Right.
Verse 10, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God,
So anybody that takes it is going to drink of the wine of the wrath of God. That's metaphorical,
Yeah.
meaning you're going to suffer the wrath of the Most High. Go ahead.
which is poured without mixture
So there's going to be no mercy. It's not going to be diluted. It's going to be raw. Go ahead.
into the cup of his indignation,
Mhm.
and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb.
Now the Lamb represents the Messiah,
Oh.
who's going to come back.
Oh.
And he's going to come back with the angels when he comes back this time. When he makes his appearance again, now I'm going to ask you one last question, right?
Okay.
What do you guys think is going to happen when he comes back?
The righteous will have a place in the afterlife.
Okay, do you think he's going to take them to heaven?
I think they'll be heaven on earth. You think?
Heaven on earth. I agree. That's in the scriptures. That's the kingdom of heaven. Now, you said they go the afterlife, right?
Yeah.
Where is the afterlife? What do you guys believe happens when you die? What happened?
He said
Rebirth.
Oh, reincarnation?
He said yeah.
Well, that's biblical, so that's good that you believe that. Reincarnation is biblical, right?
Yeah.
When you die, your body gets buried in the earth, but really what's within you is your spirit. The ruach, or rakah, as we call it.
Okay.
That spirit goes back to the heavenly Father in the spirit world, and then 3 to 4 generations later, it comes back on the earth in a new body. When a man and a woman have sex, the body is created, right? The sperm and the egg, the zygote. And then when the body is created, the spirit enters it. That's when the baby is alive. And then they come back again.
Okay.
So that's reincarnation.
Yeah.
I know you gotta go, but just remember that.
I will.
Don't take the MOTB.
I will not.
And hey, it was great talking to your friends.
I got it right here. I wrote it down.
You wrote it down?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure it was all right.
All right, let me see. He's gonna give you the YouTube channel and you can send it to them and everything.
All right.
Nah, I just anybody got a pen? Let me get something to write with. I'm gonna write down the channels for you.
Okay.
And pass it to your friends too. Let them watch. And if you guys have questions, just ask on the comment board, and just say that it was the Ethiopian Jews. Just say that, and we'll know who you're talking about.
They're not Jewish. They're not Jewish.
No, they're not Jewish, but
Yeah.
so what do they call? What do they consider themselves?
What do you consider yourself? Huh?
Christian.
Cushite? You said you're a who? Oh, you're a Cushite. Oh, okay. And your friend, who's what is he? Okay. Okay. Got you. Well, hey, in due time we will find out. All right.
Alright.
Just send them these two.
Yeah.
You can have the paper.
I'll just take a picture of it. Alright.
Yeah, and send them on YouTube. Search those, and you'll find the channels, and they can watch and
Right.
learn and ask questions from
Alright,
there.
nice talking to
All right, you guys take care.
Yeah, I got it. So this is not it?
No, it's not. It's just Men of Valor Torah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So since we brought that out, we finished in 9. Read verse Revelation 14 and 9 again, and then we're gonna wrap it up on that. Well, that's the spirit of the Lord. Anyway. Yeah. Oh, okay. That's the
So I
spirit.
mean, she must have heard what we were saying, and the Lord hit her.
Yeah.
And she was.
Oh, yes, that you was listening. Oh, okay. Now you know what's weird, right? YouTube is doing some weird shit because I can't see the comments from before, right? Like it's like they erase the top comments and then they just drop. No, that shit weird. But it's all good.
Would they be here?
Let me see. Oh, you can read that again.
Those are the new comments.
Revelation chapter 14, verse 9.
Okay, this story, yeah.
And the
Okay.
third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, verse 10, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured without mixture into the cup of his indignation.
There you go. So that's going to be the judgment for taking the MOTB. We constantly tell you over and over and over again. But see, she came up, right? She looked like an Edomite. She said she was Amalek, right? Now, does that mean that automatically because you hear that, somebody looks like an Edomite, they tell you they're Amalek, so all of a sudden you just tell them, yeah, you an Edomite, you going to slavery, get the hell out of here.
No.
How do you know that they're not an Israelite? Because at one point, if you came up to us while we were in the world, don't swing at it because it's going to get aggressive. Yeah, just slowly move. But at one point, if you came to us and told us, hey, you an Israelite, when we were back in the world, we're gonna look at you like, no, I'm African American, I'm Caribbean, I'm Trinidadian, right? That's what we're gonna think we are. You need to try us. You can't just take that off of whatever we say. You gotta try the spirit by the spirit.
That's right.
And that's why, and that goes into having patience as well. You know, so they might say, oh, I don't agree, or we believe this, or we believe that. Okay, but what did the Lord say? If they will receive it, then receive it. Our job is just to give the message, to plant the seeds. So right now, those seeds have been planted. The Lord is going to take it from there, between her friends, and so on and so forth. But Lord willing, the scriptures say that we got to be ready to give every man an answer when they ask us a reason for the hope that we have. See? So at the end of the day, you got to be able to deal with them. Knowing Israel has been scattered all around, you don't know who's an Israelite and who is not. So if you just go off face value, you're judging according to the outward appearance, and you could be in danger of offense. Anybody got anything else?
Because also there's a lot of Israelites that they'll understand it, but there's certain stuff that they can't get down with, and then they like, oh, nah, I'm not with it no more. So there's people that actually are like, they probably they date, but even they can't receive it all the time. So you know who's really Israelites by them being capable of receiving the word.
Yep.
Their spirit.
I was gonna say, calm it down. It's just in case she could still be Israel, but just not receive the word.
Yeah. So that's why we're looking for the elect. The end of the story. But here's the thing: when you plant a seed in the earth, the tree doesn't grow up right away. Now, you don't know if the tree is going to grow or if it's not. That's up to the Most High. So, you may have a conversation with somebody, and they may say, I don't think this is it, and walk down the street. But then the Most High might say, no, work on their minds a bit more. They may come across what you told them, and then the Lord might start to water that and let it grow little by little. You don't know. We don't know what's going to happen to them from now on. All we know is that we did our job, which is to give the message. And that's the end of it.
Or they might meet somebody and tell them about it, and then they might be curious and come find out more. Yeah.
Yep. So there you go. Now she said one of her friends said in Ethiopia there's Jews over there, right? He might say, yo, I spoke to such and such, this is the channel. He might spread it over there in his community. He may have Israelites in there that watch, and they may wake up. The Most High does everything for a reason. So there's a reason man's going to serve the Lord. There's a reason they stopped there and we dealt with them. And whatever that reason is, the Lord is going to take it from there.
That's right.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, Lord willing, we were edified. In closing, we want to give... Stop. You good? In closing, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh. Until next time, shalom. I got you.
This button right here.
Nah, hit the X.